on Jeffrey Epstein. Tourism creates major money for Georgia, but one popular destination has landed on a list it might wish to avoid.
Tourism and travel generated more than 460,000 jobs and nearly $80 billion in economic impact across Georgia in 2023, ranking the state fifth nationwide. But a Florida-based company analyzed TripAdvisor data and found the Georgia Aquarium also is fifth on a list of the nation's top tourist traps. The rankings are based on negative reviews, especially complaints about pricing and value. The Space Needle in Seattle tops the list, followed by Busch Gardens in Tampa, Colonial Williamsburg in Virginia, Graceland in Memphis, and then the Georgia Aquarium. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
The job of a first responder can be very stressful. We call on them for emergencies big and small. Now, a peer support network is helping those workers deal with mental health concerns that can arise. Maisha Pinkston is a certified trainer for the program who has been an EMS worker for 20 years.
I'm tired of burying my friends. I'm tired of people quitting due to burnout. I'm tired of people feeling like they cannot treat this as a career path anymore due to the things that they see.
This free program is intended to offer proactive support. Trainers work with mental health experts to give the peer groups guidance and encourage those who need it to enlist further professional help. Though aluminum in vaccines is a target for vaccine skeptics, a new study challenges the belief that those vaccines are risky in childhood. Doctors looked at more than 1.2 million people in Denmark who got vaccinated as kids and found no link to chronic conditions such as asthma, autism, or autoimmune diseases. Now, while the study found no link, researchers acknowledged they can't completely rule out the possibility of a small increased risk for rare disorders. Some people choose Manjaro, others choose Mexico, but complications keep arising from weight loss tourism.
A warning from doctors about medical tourism for weight loss surgery. A study published in BMJ Global Health says despite the rise in popularity of weight loss drugs, more Americans are traveling abroad for cheap bariatric and weight reduction surgery.
But correspondent Michael George says the industry is largely unregulated, increasing the risk of injury, bad outcomes, even death. It's now 12:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather to the WSB 24-hour traffic center and Alex Williams on the lunchtime commute.
And if your lunchtime finds you heading into downtown, you're going to deal with a few brake lights. 85 southbound below Georgia 400, and those continue on and off 75, 85 south 17th Street down to Cortlandt Street with sluggish volume northbound on 75, 85 from University Avenue up into Midtown. Still a few brake lights in Marietta, but it's improving. 75 northbound from Delk Road up toward that pothole repair has wrapped up at Highway 5, the Canton Road connector, exit 267. Right lane construction toward Lithonia, I-20 eastbound into Cab before Panola Road, exit 71. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Now it's time for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Partly cloudy, hot and humid, but mainly dry through this afternoon. Only a slim chance of an isolated pop-up shower or thunderstorm. Today's high is 94, lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 92. A mix of sun and clouds on Friday, high 93. And staying mainly dry for this weekend. Saturday and Sunday, morning lows in the mid-70s, daytime highs in the low 90s.
Right now, it's 84 degrees in Stockbridge. We're seeing 84 in Villa Rica and lots of clouds over there. And 86 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 12:06. More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Greetings, conversationalists. There actually is breaking news out of the gate here. We've got to go to it. The president just speaking in the Oval Office, contradicting major headlines. The headlines had the stock markets going down today. Now that the president has spoken in the last 5 minutes, the markets are turning around. They should, given the producer price index numbers, overshadowed this morning, though, by major media stories, including one from Bloomberg News. There's a breaking news bar at the top of Bloomberg News right now that says Trump likely to fire Powell soon, White House official says. And a Josh Wingrove story posted at 11:16 a.m. and updated at 11:32 a.m. saying President Donald Trump is likely to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell soon, a White House official said, and discussed the possible move in a meeting with congressional Republicans. That is from 11:32 a.m. Here is the president from 5 minutes ago.
Fed chair, I was surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in and extended him, but they did. So, no, we're not planning on doing anything. We're very concerned. He's doing a little renovation for $2.5 billion of the Fed, building a renovation, and they have close to $900 million cost overrun. And it's a shame. But the biggest cost overrun is the cost overrun for interest rates, because we should be paying 3 points lower. And we would save $1 trillion a year in interest if that were the case. And all it is the stroke of a pen. And that goes for his board, too, because his board is not doing the job, because they should try and rein this guy in. So he's doing a lousy job. But no, I'm not talking about that. Fortunately, we get to make a change in the next, 8 months or so. And we'll pick somebody that's good, and we'll pick somebody. I just want a fair job.
Now, what he's not saying there when he says, I can't believe Biden put the guy in, is Donald Trump appointed Jerome Powell. It is one of his remarkable, except on the Epstein stuff. Now his base, we'll get to that, are mad at him for saying he never pushed the Epstein conspiracy theories. They'll say, it was Joe Biden. It was Joe Biden. Actually, Donald Trump picked Jerome Powell, and Joe Biden kept him on. Interesting choice of words there, but he's now totally debunking the major breaking news stories. The Bloomberg ran with it, and then the Wall Street Journal ran with it, citing the Bloomberg story that White House officials were saying they planned to fire Jerome Powell. Markets that should have been up today were down instead, and now the markets are reversing and starting to come to life and head into positive territory because of this. Now, this gives us a chance to talk about the impact of tariffs. I was going to do it tomorrow. I've said all along, middle of July, I was going to do this. I was going to wait until tomorrow, but we've got all the data now, and I got to tell you, Donald Trump is the luckiest man alive. Because the answer to the riddle of the impact of tariffs is it's there and you can see it, but it's offset by such good economic news. Not everybody's feeling it. In fact, the producer price index today is zero inflation. Zero inflation in the producer price index. And 100% of the economists surveyed, 100% of the economists surveyed said there would be inflation in the producer price index. They all got it wrong. 0% inflation. In fact, the Democrats are now embracing the conspiracy theory Republicans embraced during the Biden administration, that they're cooking the books. They got to be cooking the books. They're not cooking the books. This is the actual objective data we can see here. 0% inflation in the producer price index. And the Fed pays attention to the producer price index. There is zero inflation there. And the result of this will be that the Fed actually does, in fact, have the opportunity and the excuse now to possibly cut interest rates. The problem, however, is on the consumer side. And I gotta put the bigger picture here for you, because it actually is very good news for the president. Those like myself who were very concerned about the impact of inflation, we missed the mark on this. That we're seeing it, but it's not as bad as we thought. Now, there are some caveats here we'll get to. But I'm holding myself accountable here. I assume by July that one of the big caveats is the president has kept pushing and pushing and pushing off the tariffs. And it turns out the 10% blanket tariff we have everywhere, it has driven up revenue to the government. But keep in mind that revenue comes from American taxpayers, not foreign governments. However, the 10% tariff has been offset by a dramatic collapse in energy prices. And that is the sweet spot for Donald Trump. OPEC nations have continued to produce oil at a pretty significant rate. That's kept gas prices down, and that's allowed tariffs to increase prices at a rate that is offset by lower energy prices, so you and I haven't felt it a lot. However, while the producer price index is showing zero inflation, a lot of Trump supporters are saying that the CPI numbers are a nothing burger, and that's not true at all. The CPI numbers, and it's spin to say it's nothing burger because everyone expected, all the economists expected what happened, is that the inflation rate for the consumer price index, that is your fuel, your groceries, the things you buy, it's up 2.7%. It had been 2.4%. It's up 2.7%. And when you take out energy, you take out groceries, it's actually up 2.9%. And that's a number the Federal Reserve pays attention to, that it's at 2.9%. They want it closer to 2%. And that's an increase. It had been going down. This is the largest year-over-year increase since 2021. And that's a key measure because in 2021, you had the big spending by the Democrats. You had massive inflation. Things settled back down. This is the biggest jump we've had since then. And the Trump supporters say this is a nothing burger, this is nothing burger, this is no big deal, are just like the Biden supporters. in 2021 saying what? First, inflation was not going to happen. And then when it did happen, it wasn't that bad. And eventually, even with this, we're going to get to it's transitory. And then they're going to tell us it's a good thing. We see the circle of life in the talking points, and we're seeing it with Trump. It isn't that bad right now, and that's true. A 2.9% increase isn't as bad as economists were expecting. The survey number, they hit the market. The survey number of economists, they thought it was going to be 2.9%. It was 2.9%, but that's actually a big jump. And here's where we're seeing the tariffs come into play. Coffee prices are up. Banana prices are up. Imported produce prices are up. Remarkably, car prices have fallen. When you survey the automakers, they say car prices have fallen so much because they had enough in queue that don't apply to tariffs, and they're doing so many offsets and trade-in deals that's offsetting it, but that was not expected. Car prices going down was not expected. But gas prices have gone down enough that it's offsetting otherwise increases you would see in beef, increases you would see in dairy. The president is super lucky. Now, the warning signs are there, so we're already seeing tariffs. In fact, the goods that are inflating the most are furniture, toys, and clothing. Three things from which we import a lot from China. We're seeing those increases. And keep in mind, a lot of the president's tariffs, he's put them off, and they won't go into effect until August, September, October, November. A lot of economists are warning that we may see them now. But here's the other thing. Because energy prices have gone down and the tariffs have come in and been at a lower rate than what the president originally announced, the majority of economists out there are now saying we're probably going to get out of a recession. About 2/3 of economists 4 months ago said we're probably within 3 to 6 months of a recession. Now less than 1/3 of economists think we're within 3 to 6 months of a recession. They're actually looking at an economic boom. Now consider this scenario for the president and the Republicans. Things work out on the economy. He replaces the Fed chair mid-year next year. The economy roars to life. People aren't going to be angry at the GOP. People aren't going to be angry at the GOP. The man is, you can call it providence, you can call it luck, whatever you want to do. Had he turned his head just slightly, he wouldn't be here because of Butler. Had he implemented the tariffs the way he first announced, the economy would be in trouble. His going back and forth has kept everybody off balance, including the markets, and the markets have rolled with it. Gas prices have come down because the OPEC nations, led by Saudi Arabia, decided that they would continue to pursue maximum extraction policies, keeping oil prices low. Given the economic turmoil in the Middle East and Europe, it's helped stabilize the economy. That's kept prices down so the tariffs could go into effect without people feeling it. The wholesale price index is actually 0% inflation. Dude is remarkably lucky. The warning signs are there, but the people who said that tariffs weren't going to hurt the economy, they're in the right here. People like me right now in the wrong. I still think it's coming if rates go up. If the economy slows down, tariffs will be a burden. But you can't look at the economic numbers right now and say that the president has burdened the economy. The economy is remarkably strong and robust. The president, Scott Bessent, they've done a very good job of steering this ship through this turmoil. When I started this morning, 10 minutes ago? The markets had all trended down pretty significantly. The Dow was at, 43.74? 43, no. The Dow was down 43,774. It's now only down 44,022. It's only down 2 points. It had been down about 100 points. It's only down now 2 points. Actually, it's just come into positive territory. It's now up 2 points. The NASDAQ had been down over 100 points. It's now only down 37 points. The S&P 500 had been down 30 points. It's only down 5 points now. It's headed into positive territory. The NASDAQ is headed into positive territory. The Dow has come back into positive territory as the president and his team now dispute the reports of the media that he was going to fire Jerome Powell. I wonder who leaked it. Because the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg News both did this, and they're citing White House sources. The president made the comments in a meeting with GOP lawmakers who voted against cryptocurrency legislation on Tuesday that he was looking to replace Powell. A White House official disputed the notion that Trump would immediately remove Powell. The Supreme Court came out about a month ago and said the president could not fire the Federal Reserve chairman, so he would be putting himself in confrontation with the Supreme Court if he tried to fire him. And now he's made it clear that it's highly unlikely he would fire Jerome Powell. The Federal Reserve meets at the end of this month. The Open Markets Committee is 12 people. Powell is the only one the president has direct impact over, and he shapes it. And what we've been seeing now, what you got to understand is that the conversations about Jerome Powell are like the Biden administration conversations about the Supreme Court prior to big decisions coming out. It amounts to the president's team trying to rough up the refs. Biden did it with the Supreme Court. Trump is doing it with the Federal Reserve. They're trying to rough the refs. They're trying to get what they want, the play call they want from the refs by roughing them up, trying to bully them into giving them what they want. My sense of the Federal Reserve is that they could dig in their heels to show their independence. They're not going to be bullied. But the producer price index shows zero inflation. If the Fed wants to give the president a little bit, the president wants a 3% cut. If they want to give him a 1% cut, the producer price index shows that at the wholesale level, inflation is insignificant right now. Again, one of the big variables is energy costs. Energy costs are so low right now that they've been able to offset it. But, I've been telling you that tariffs were going to raise prices. We actually do see it in the consumer price index. Instead, it had been inflation rate of 2.4%. It's now 2.7%. You take out energy, you take out groceries, it's 2.9%. It actually has gone up. It is the biggest increase since 2021. We are seeing tariff prices. We're just not seeing them as much as a lot of us, myself included, thought, in large part because so many of them have been pushed off until August. That matters. And if the president pushes them off again, the rhetorical tool of tariffs is not the danger. It's the actual tariff that's the danger. So if he pushes them off again, it's not going to affect prices. He's given the Fed some wiggle room if they want to work with him. My concern is that in the roughing of the refs, you may see the Fed decide to exert their independence and say, we're not giving the man what he wants. But if they want to meet him a little way and actually stimulate a little more economic growth, they've got an excuse now to cut interest rates because the producer price index is at zero inflation, even as the CPI is up. Because here's the thing, tariffs are not really inflation. We talk about it as inflation. It's measured in the inflation data. But a tariff isn't inflation. The tariff is not the government dumping money into the market, stimulating the market. The tariff is just a tax that raises prices on consumers. It's captured in the inflation index. It's not true inflation, and that means that price is now fixed, which means that's not going to increase inflation more because it's a fixed rate. This gives the Fed some wiggle room if they want to take it.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. New crash, West Side Interloop in Cobb County, 285 northbound. The Interloop, South Cobb Drive, exit 15. Crash on the left lane there. You're starting to slow back to that bridge over the Chattahoochee River. Elsewhere, 285 northbound. The Outer Loop into DeKalb County through Tucker. Just a little bit of volume as you leave La Vista Road up to I-85 Spaghetti Junction. Traffic brought to you by Sam's Club. There's still time to enjoy locked-in summer value at Sam's Club till July 22nd. Prices are held on over 1,000 items. Join now and make the most of summer. Sign up for a membership at samsclub.com/join. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
You're by the pool.
You're relaxing.
You're sipping a drink.
Someone brings you a towel.
Adjust the umbrella.
Sound like a fantasy?
It's not.
This is Sandra from Grayson, Georgia. I just won $1,000 from WSB.
WSB's $1,000 Thursdays tomorrow.
Listen for the keyword at 9, 10, and 11 a.m. and 12, 1, 2, and 3 p.m.
Enter the keyword at WSBradio.com or the WSB app.
I just put the keyword in, and oh my God.
Win $1,000. Get all the info at WSBradio.com.
Thank you.
$1,000 Thursdays
from 95.5 WSB.
where Atlanta wins.
Mosquitoes bite, but Breda bites back. Dave Baker here. Nobody is better at beating mosquitoes than Breda Pest Management because, one, only Breda will come back and retreat your yard within 30 days, even after rain. That knocks down the bloodthirsty adult mosquitoes immediately. Two, Breda will bind an insect growth regulator to the mosquitoes that will make it impossible for their eggs to ever turn into adults. And three, every Breda technician is licensed, providing knowledge and ongoing training to properly and safely treat your home from summer's worst enemy. Breda bites mosquitoes back. 1, 2, 3. Breda safely and effectively eliminates mosquitoes in your yard today and for generations of future mosquitoes. Breda, they handle bugs and critters. BREDA Pest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Welcome to Window Wisdom with North Georgia Replacement Windows. Today we're talking with window and door experts Ted Kirk and Jonathan Cullum, owners of North Georgia Replacement Windows. Ted, can you explain how the Infinity fiberglass windows can give us more daylight and bigger views in our home?
Because our Infinity Ultrex fiberglass is so strong, the frames of our windows are thinner, which gives you more daylight and bigger views. Our windows are not big and bulky like other replacement windows.
What if someone wants a window where there isn't one already?
Fortunately, we're licensed general contractors, and we can help with that. Our windows come in both a new construction and replacement option, so we're always guaranteed to have the perfect fit for your home.
How do the Infinity fiberglass windows measure up when it comes to energy efficiency?
Infinity windows have super energy efficient glass that will lower your energy bills and protect your floors, window treatments, and home furnishings from fading out from the damaging sun's UV rays.
Jonathan, anything else you'd like to add?
Just remember, if you're replacing your old windows that are leaking or rotting, choose Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows or you're giving up both daylight and views. And not only are our fiberglass windows more durable, they are truly beautiful windows.
Jonathan and Ted, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, experience, and expertise. And right now at North Georgia Replacement Windows, it's our biggest sale in company history. You'll get 25% off your project, plus up to 18 months no interest, no payment financing. Now that's big. 25% off your project, plus up to 18 months no interest, no payment financing. And you need to hurry. These big offers end July 31st, 2025. Visit our beautiful showroom in Alpharetta and check out all the offer details online at ngwindows.com. ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
It's Eric, and one of the questions I get asked all the time is, Erickson, where do I get a computer? I don't want to worry about the setup and all the tech support stuff. Y'all, you go to Vision Computers. Call them at 404 Compute. Listen, when you call Vision, you're not getting stuck in a maze of hold music or menus. They answer the phone 15 seconds on average. That's right, 15 seconds. Real people, real help, real fast, right when you need it. And here's the part I love. You got an older computer, you got programs you rely on. Maybe QuickBooks or a niche software for your small business. You're afraid a new computer means losing it all or spending days doing transfers. Vision Computers got you covered. As long as your software is supported in Windows 11, they can move all your programs from your old computer to the new one efficiently, safely, and fast. It's like handing off all the hassle to someone who's an expert and knows what they're doing. So if you're thinking your old computer is fine but slowing down, maybe time for a new one. Call 404 Compute today. That's 404 Compute. Let Vision Computers take care of everything. You're never going to want to buy a computer another way.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Well, Jill Biden's work husband has taken the Fifth Amendment. Anthony Bernal, who is a Jill Biden aide, she was his chief of staff. He has taken the Fifth Amendment when asked if anyone had ever been instructed to lie about Joe Biden's health, or if any unelected members of the administration or family members had executed the duties of the President of the United States. Anthony Bernal took the Fifth Amendment. That's the second person now to take the Fifth Amendment, to plead the Fifth in testimony about Joe Biden's administration. That should be a big warning sign for everyone. Real quick, I want to address the firing of Jerome Powell by Donald Trump. It would be a terrible idea for him to do it for two reasons. One, the markets would react badly, but the actual big reason is it would accomplish nothing. There are 12 members on the Federal Open Markets Committee. That's the committee of the Federal Reserve that sets interest rates. Jerome Powell chairs it. Jerome Powell is the only direct appointee within the Federal Reserve that the president controls. So you would have 11 members on the board with a new appointed chairman by Donald Trump. Those 11 members, 10 out of the 11 last time agreed not to cut interest rates. One said he was willing to consider cutting interest rates, but by and large, for the last year and a half to 2 years, the Open Markets Committee has been very, very unanimous about not cutting rates. Changing the chairman of the committee and of the Federal Reserve does nothing to those other members who the president does not have the power to directly replace because of the design of the Federal Reserve. So you'd still have a bunch of people there who don't want to cut rates. So he would cause market turmoil without actually being able to change the mind of the Open Markets Committee, which is why he probably is right to think no reason to do this. Old Glory Bank is a bank headquartered out of Oklahoma. They are an online bank. It doesn't matter, though. They're great. They've got a business checking, business accounts. They've got personal accounts. I've got a personal checking and personal savings account with Old Glory Bank. I get good interest in my savings account. You can get bank accounts from them. You can get mortgages from them. You can get loans and CDs. They are a fully functioning bank, member of the FDIC, and they would love to have you with them. What sets them apart is they are by conservatives for conservatives, which I enjoy. I know a number of the people who got the bank started, and the reason they started it was because of debanking trends in the country. And they wanted a place, for example, for a gun store wouldn't have to worry about getting their account shut down because of the business that they do, or you wouldn't be blocked from using your debit card to be able to purchase a firearm. OldGloryBank.com/Eric is where you can go. Fill out the account online. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply. OldGloryBank.com/Eric.
I'm Chris Chandler. When you join us Thursday, starting at 5 a.m. for Atlanta's morning news, breaking stories from overnight, triple team traffic to help you get to work on time, and you'll get our exclusive 5-day forecast looking into the weekend, too. Scott Slade's Georgia this week, the Volunteers making a difference for Georgia seniors. And Clark Howard's new AI frustration, all on Atlanta's morning news starting at 5 o'clock Thursday on 95.5 WSB.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 12:30. I'm Veronica Waters. The news is brought to you by Jim Ellis Automotive. Our top local story, she is accused of murdering his daughter in Carroll County. Yet the grandfather of 17-year-old Sarah Patrick says the girl is innocent. Dennis Nolan tells WSB he was in shock when he found out authorities were taking out warrants against his granddaughter.
I said, what evidence do you have to arrest her? He says, well, let me put it this way. She's the only one who could have done it. And boy, that just doesn't sit right with me.
Carroll County deputies, in fact, say the motive behind the shootings of Kristen and James Brock is unknown. Sarah Patrick was 16 at the time. The couple was found dead in February. A new AI-powered supercomputer planned for Georgia Tech is being hailed as a game changer for scientific research.
Georgia Tech calls the $20 million system Nexus. They'll start building it this year, and once it's complete next spring, scientists from institutions across the country will be able to apply to use the ultra-fast system. It'll be capable of performing more than 400 quadrillion operations per second. The university says it'll support work in many fields, including climate science, health, aerospace, and robotics. They plan to reserve up to 10% of the system's capacity for research at Georgia Tech. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Several cats are left behind at a soon-to-be-demolished College Park apartment complex. Now volunteers are looking for homes for them. Tri-Cities Friends of Kitty says there are about a dozen cats who need homes. In March, the complex's new owner abruptly notified tenants their leases had been canceled. On the Senate floor, Illinois Democrat Dick Durbin argues against cutting funds to NPR, PBS, and foreign aid.
The president has turned this vote away from a discussion of the merits of the cut, or whether of which there are none, into a loyalty test personally.
Senators are debating this bill that would cancel billions of dollars in previously approved funding for government programs. Supporters, though, say that most of it is for foreign aid. It's 12:32. Live team coverage of traffic and weather next.
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response, they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your Virtual Imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now, while you still have options.
12:35 live team coverage of traffic and weather begins with Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Crash in the left lane, 285 northbound, the inner loop over on the west side, South Cobb Drive, exit 15, and some brake lights still through Marietta, 75 northbound as you leave South Marietta Parkway trying to get up to Highway 5. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Epwords. Partly cloudy, hot and humid this afternoon, high 94.
It's 87 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 12:30 on 1 o'clock on 95.5 WSB.
Truth over tribe. Conviction over party. Eric Erickson. Conservative, but not captive.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. I want to go back to something I told you yesterday on air. As the consumer prices came out, it's very clear that there actually is tariff impact in price now, particularly furniture, clothes, and toys, a lot of which come from China, but we are seeing a real impact. We've had the highest jump in inflation since 2021. It went from 2.4 to 2.7%. You take out energy and groceries to up to 2.9%, which isn't huge, but it actually is a big jump in a 1 month period. However, keep in mind that tariffs are acknowledged in inflation, but it's true they're not really inflation because it's a tax. It's a public policy, but it's reflected in price increases. We measure price increases as inflation. So, but this is like the Biden administration quibbling about what was or was not a recession. Yet we're feeling the price increases. It comes out in the data. But the good news is that a tariff increase is a fixed rate. Therefore, we're not going to keep seeing prices go up, inflating because of tariffs. But the one area I told you yesterday you cannot attack the President of the United States for is egg prices. Egg prices are still up 20-some% from where they were year over year. But last year it had a lot to do with bird flu. Through this year, there was a massive spike in egg prices. But egg prices actually come down. Since Donald Trump has been president, the rate of the price of eggs has plummeted. It's actually down. Although it's up, year over year about 20%. It's down 1 month to the next 7%. That's a massive drop. And so I want to play for you this exchange, the intellectually dishonest exchange on Abby Phillips' show on CNN when Scott Jennings points out egg prices are down.
I do think the panic over this report today is unwarranted, but I do think data is worth watching every month.
But it's not.
But it seems like a lot of panic for no reason. You're getting matched reports every month.
It's not panic when we were promised on August 15th of last year that the price of eggs, that the price of bacon, and the price of apples.
69%.
Actually, eggs year over year are up
last
20.
Year?
Are up 27%.
They're down.
I'm sorry.
Since he took office, they're down.
But if
year
you're
over
in
year.
He promised when he took office they would go down.
Hold on. Let's not fight about statistics here. She's right. Year over year, they are up significantly. Month over month, they've gone down, but that's from their high, which occurred partly due to bird flu and other things.
Right.
So
Wow. The snotty attitude there. Yes, month over month they're down. Year over year, when Biden was president now, yes, they've gone up, but they've been trickling down ever since. And the fact that Abby Phillips would do that, hold on. Yes, it's true, year over year, but month over month, and no attribution there to the end of bird flu. This is deeply dishonest stuff. As Scott Jennings puts it on Twitter, one of the most dishonest things I've ever seen out there. Just wild. Under Trump, egg prices are down. I feel like I'm losing my mind. He's right. The disingenuousness. And you know, if it was a Republican doing something like that, there'd be a big fact check in real time on CNN, but there wasn't. And Scott was making a lot of sense. Now, I want to move on to other news. The Senate is advancing the rescission package. There's good news and there's bad news here. Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, and Mitch McConnell are opposed to passing the rescission package. I will explain to you the logic of the three of them. I just don't attack me for explaining why. Just so you understand, Lisa Murkowski actually says it's because they're cutting the Corporation of Public Broadcasting. It's a huge issue in Alaska. She thinks we need to fund NPR and PBS. This actually is her objection. The rescission package is less than $10 billion, and she's upset because of the NPR PBS funding. Susan Collins and Mitch McConnell are appropriators. McConnell in particular, a longtime appropriator. And their objections are philosophical. Congress appropriated the money. The president shouldn't be allowed to claw it back. But in particular, the way the rescission package is structured is that it's a blanket rescission and doesn't specify what will be rescinded other than the PBS, Corporation for Public Broadcasting bidding. Now, again, don't shoot me for being the explainer to you. I'm just explaining. I don't agree. I'm just explaining. Tom Tillis of North Carolina shares the concerns but says he's going to vote for it. And Tillis says his concern is that there's $2 billion in this $9.8 billion package that is clawing back money from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. He's okay with that. He said his problem is that it's the $7 billion that's clawed back from foreign aid and other things, and there are no line items for what's actually being clawed back, and he doesn't like giving the executive that much discretion to micromanage clawing back things Congress approved. That's Mitch McConnell's concern as well. McConnell is going to oppose the rescission package. Tillis is going to support it. They have the same concerns. Just, again, don't shoot me for explaining. I'm explaining. I don't agree with McConnell, Collins, or Murkowski. I just want you to understand their thinking. Their Murkowski thinking is absurd. Look, I understand if I was on the Appropriation Committee, if I was a congressional appropriator, I'd be a little bit appalled at the executive being able to micromanage spending that I, the appropriator in Congress, legislated. I get it philosophically. I do, even though I disagree. Murkowski's big concern is Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which is absurd. By the way, did y'all see that the Elmo social media account was hacked? It's the funniest thing, y'all. Elmo was hacked. You know, little red fuzzy Elmo. Elmo was hacked. And Elmo was hacked by someone who hates Jews and loves the Nazis. And there were lots of pro-Nazi propaganda placed in Elmo's feed. And the funniest part of it is the number of people who actually thought that Elmo was real. So Elmo's account got taken back by Sesame Street, and Elmo tweets, "Thank you for being kind to Elmo and all the people in your neighborhood. Elmo loves you." Someone replied to Elmo, "Resign. You posted the most vile hate speech since the latest Tucker Carlson podcast. Saying what you did about Jews is Nazi-style rhetoric, and you should be out of a job at the very least. You are a disgrace and should be far away from anything having to do with children." He did not seem to appreciate that Elmo's account had been hacked, and it was not Elmo. He also does not seem to appreciate the fact that if you have little ones in the car, I apologize. Elmo's not real. I know some people think so. Elmo's not real. There is a person, probably a grown man, with his hand inserted through Elmo's rectum, moving Elmo's lips. It's like what they did for 4 years to Joe Biden, except this is a puppet. He's not real, y'all. But he went on a serious anti-Jew diatribe on Twitter when someone hacked his account, and I gotta say, it was the second funniest thing after Fortnite deciding to sell Fantastic Foreskins. My dad, by the way, want to know if somebody's going to sell some rabbi costumes for Fortnite after they get the Fantastic Foreskins. They probably do need a couple of rabbi skins as well to be sold on Fortnite after the Fantastic Foreskins. I wonder if you can collect the Fantastic Foreskins and present them as a dowry or something. Nonetheless, Elmo, not a real person. His account was hacked. Went on the account hacked. Elmo says all Jews should die. F Jews. Donald Trump is Netanyahu's puppet because he is in the Epstein files. Jews control the world and need to be exterminated. Release the files, Donald Trump, child blankety blank, and kill all the Jews. Those are the tweets that were Elmo's account was hijacked and he tweeted, and that person thinks that Elmo was a real person who tweeted those things. Now, all of this is to say, Corporation for Public Broadcasting has Elmo. They don't need you and me to subsidize them. They can sell more Elmo dolls. They can sell the Nazi Elmo doll if they want to. I bet you it would sell well in like Gaza. My problem, my philosophical problem, my real problem is that the Republicans are barely able to pass a $9.8 billion package of spending cuts. They can barely do it. J.D. Vance had to be a tiebreaker vote. If they can't cut $9.8 billion from the federal government, how are they going to solve the national debt problem? It's the Republicans who are the problem. It's not the Democrats here. It's the Republicans. The Republicans aren't getting serious about this. And by the way, did you know there was an editorial survey at National Public Radio? It turns out there are 0 Republican editors at National Public Radio. They did an internal survey. One of the reporters did. 0 people wanted to admit to being a Republican. So either there are none or they're too scared to admit that they exist. That's the climate at NPR. And I don't think my taxpayer dollars should be supporting that. There's some woman who hasn't shaved her legs in 50 years with a Birkenstock tote bag in a grocery store at Whole Foods probably, who can write a check instead of getting the vegan tofu mix from Whole Foods. She can write a check and help fund NPR. They don't need my taxpayer dollars. This woman's going to go home to her lily white house where she's got the "In this house we believe Black Lives Matter." She's still got her Hillary Clinton, Tim Kaine sign in the yard, and she shops at Whole Foods while she cares about the poor. She can fund National Public Radio and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They don't need my money. They don't need your money. They are well funded by upper income white progressive women who don't believe in shaving or touching the poor. Just caring about them greatly. The fact that the Republicans are struggling to do this is a warning sign for their commitment to reducing the size and scope of the federal government. Look, I understand the philosophical concerns as I articulated them. from McConnell, from Tillis, from Susan Collins. The Murkowski ones are baffling to me. She really thinks that PBS serves a great purpose. No, it does not even in Alaska. My listeners, you there in Anchorage, I love you. I'll come see you one day when it's warm and the sun is shining. I know you people don't care about the Corporation for Public Broadcasting the way Lisa Murkowski says. Maybe she's got a relative who works at the Alaska branch. I have no idea. But it's really not a good sign when the Republicans can't even agree to cut $9.8 billion in spending. Something's got to give, or the country is going to have a serious fiscal crisis sooner rather than later. One of the groups that's fighting against that fiscal crisis coming is Americans for Prosperity. They've advocated common sense conservative reforms, including pushing for this rescission package to go forward and for more cuts. I've actually got an op-ed I've written for them that'll be in Newsweek, I think, tomorrow, about the rescission package and the need for this common sense conservative reform nationwide. We'd love to have you involved with Americans for Prosperity. They've got a new website they've set up, afpvolunteer.com. If you go to afpvolunteer.com, you can get involved in the largest and leading grassroots group in the country. It happens to be conservative. It happens to fight for common sense conservative reforms. It happens to fight for families and small businesses and individuals, for things like school choice and tax reform and spending cuts in Washington, D.C. They'd love to get you involved. They would love to have you around the country participate. They've got chapters in every state. I'm on their board of advisors. Would love to see you get involved. It's afpvolunteer.com, brought to you by my friends at Americans for Prosperity. AFP Volunteer. Go sign up today. Be a part of advancing conservative reforms in this country from the federal level all the way down to the state level. afpvolunteer.com.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1249 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory in both directions on the west side perimeter. 285 both north and southbound. Crashes blocking 2 left lanes in both directions. You're stacked up either way into and out of Smyrna Vinings. Use 7585 as an alternate. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Save on summer's sweetest flavor at Whole Foods Market. Get 18 ounces of organic blueberries for $5.49 each with Prime through July 29th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
The 25th annual WSB Carathon is right around the corner, and we want to thank our friends over at Findlay Roofing, the Roof guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
For their contribution and continued support for the kids at the Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorders Center at Children's.
Thank you for all your support.
You can donate right now at WSBradio.com/Carathon.
Won't you please donate?
Y'all, there's a way for you to beat tariffs and still get that new kitchen you want. You Google Frugal Kitchens. Right now, you book an appointment with Frugal Kitchens. They're going to give you the Frugal Price Lock, where you're going to be able to get your kitchen remodeled with Frugal Kitchens for a great price with $1 million look, and you'll lock in pre-tariff pricing. Google Frugal Kitchens today, book your appointment this month, and you'll save big and increase the value of your home with that kitchen you've been wanting. Google Frugal Kitchens today.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on Portfolio X-Ray, or click on Full Retirement Plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
When it comes to defending down bikers' rights, trust is everything and results matter. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler for Steel Horse Law, local motorcycle injury attorneys who ride. They specialize in protecting bikers who've been hurt. The mega firms will send an investigator or a paralegal, not a lawyer. With Steel Horse Law, you'll meet directly with your own attorney to get you back on your feet, medical bills paid, back to work, and your case resolved. Schedule your free accident evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All the information without the spin. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, finally giving it to you today. I assume most of you know it, 877-97-ERIC. 877-973-7425. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you can get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, all the social media links. Follow me on Instagram. By the way, I should tell you, I don't want to tell you. I don't know that I want to, but they're kind of making me. We're going to do another Not Safe for Radio show because there were so many people who wanted to come, couldn't come. The demand is there. We surveyed the audience, and probably it's going to be, we haven't even picked a date yet, but later this year probably we'll find a venue, and we will do another Not Safe for Radio show. And so the people who couldn't come, who wanted to come, will have the opportunity to come, and then I can say I've done it. Just stay tuned for details later when we work it all out. Yeah, y'all, I got to tell you, I did not expect to be as drained as it is Wednesday. The event was on Saturday, but the emotional and mental and physical wearing out of being on stage an hour and a half, no notes, just talking and keeping people's attention it's kind of like I didn't appreciate the level of energy that it took to be able to pull that off, and nerves on top of it, and I think it'll be less straining a second time to be able to do, but it was so good. The feedback's been so great. There's so much demand from people who weren't able to make it or people who came but they would love to come back and bring more family. We're okay, fine, we'll do it. Now we got to move on to other stuff, including I've got to tell you that Josh Hawley, he's definitely way more populist than when he got in. He was a Club for Growth guy. He's become more populist, but I got to tell you, this is good politics for Hawley out in Kansas, or Missouri. Kansas City is I guess he's not actually. Anyway, he's the senator from Missouri. Josh Hawley has become a very populist-oriented Republican. He wants more participation with unions, private sector unions, more labor deals, things like that. Very embracing progressive economics as a Republican, and he has decided to file legislation to cut all of the Medicaid changes that were in the reconciliation package. Now that reconciliation passed with changes to Medicaid, Hawley voted for the changes that included cuts to Medicaid, and now he's authored legislation to undo the cuts that he just voted for to get reconciliation passed. It's a very cynical maneuver of politics. I got to give him credit for it. He can say he's for getting rid of those cuts. He wants to expand Medicaid. Now, the problem is the math on the reconciliation package doesn't work without those cuts. So Hawley voted for the cuts, knowing you had to have those cuts in reconciliation to get it passed, and now he's authoring the legislation with Democrats to get rid of the cuts that he just voted for to increase Medicaid spending, which We'll collapse the house of entitlement cards on top of us. But I got to give him credit for the very cynical political play of doing that. I am actually very impressed with Hawley's political maneuverings. And even if I disagree with him, I recognize that he is playing the populist streak well. The question is, what comes next? What comes next with the Republicans? This is, so you understand, the other Lisa Murkowski objection to rescissions. She's opposed to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting cuts, but she also said her philosophical problem is we're going from reconciliation to rescission to reconciliation to rescission, and there's got to be more to it than that. There's got to be, and then a continuing resolution that there's got to be more done. This is all consuming, and they're not getting anything else done, and that's her concern as well. Which that one I understand. I don't understand the preserving Corporation for Public Broadcasting stuff. That's just weird. All right, when we come back, we got to move on because the New York Times has an incredible op-ed from General Custer advising people on how to survive an Indian attack. Wait until you hear the details of this. Is the most bizarre thing I think the New York Times has done in quite a while. The mental breakdown of the left on full display and how you deal with Donald Trump.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
So if you can't handle your real face, then don't tell me how to handle my life.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
They have a lot more money now because they stopped kneeling.
Eric Von Hessler.
Things are going to get broken.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 1 o'clock. I'm Veronica Waters. News this hour is brought to you by Dr. Roof. WSB's top local story: a grandfather is grieving while being worried for the accused murderer. A 17-year-old girl faces charges for allegedly killing her mom and stepdad in Carroll County. And now her grandfather says she should be released from jail.
Sarah Grace Patrick recently turned herself in after receiving word warrants were being taken out against her for the February deaths of Kristen and James Brock.
That's not an admission of guilt. They put a warrant out for her arrest, and she did what was right.
Dennis Nolan says he doesn't believe his granddaughter could have carried out the crimes. He hopes the truth will come forward.
I just dread the thought of her going through a trial on this thing. It's gonna be ugly.
The Carroll County Sheriff's Office says it's trying to determine a motive. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
87 degrees now in Midtown Atlanta. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards says we're going to see more humid temperatures today with highs in the 90s and partly cloudy skies throughout the metro. Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast is coming up. All new this hour, attorneys and family members for Johnny Holloman meet with Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis, hoping for an update on whether she's going to file charges against a police officer who tased Johnny Holloman after he refused to sign a ticket back in 2023. They also want charges against the tow truck driver who got involved in it. Attorney Mowley Davis telling WSB.
There's still hope, and we're still very optimistic that charges will be brought in this case, and so now it is just a waiting game.
Davis says the DA indicates she'll make a decision in a couple of weeks. Residents of a College Park apartment complex had to pack up and leave in a hurry when the landlord suddenly canceled all leases. Now, the volunteer group Tri-Cities Friends of Kitties is rescuing the cats left behind at Chelsea Gardens.
We got involved trying to get the cats to safety, reuniting cats with their owners when possible.
Sydney Nettles Coates tells WSB, about a dozen cats need perfect new homes. The complex is condemned and set for demolition. After 7 years, a key corridor in the heart of Atlanta connecting businesses and entertainment hubs reopens today. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens says the Ted Turner Bridge on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive has a newly built viaduct and roadway linking Forsyth and Spring Streets.
These business owners have had traffic problems, have had their customers say, where do I go? How do I get there? So now you're going to be able to have a smoother commute, a better way to be able to get to businesses.
Drivers in the area say it should also unclog surrounding streets. It's now 1:02. Live team coverage of traffic and weather straight ahead.
It is officially summer break, and we can all take a deep breath. Well, only if your air ducts are clean. Call the cleaning pros at Zero Res to get your ducts insanely clean. And now you can take advantage of their summer sale for 15% off all services, including carpet, area rugs, and air duct cleanings. For a limited time, mention me, Chris Chandler, and you'll get 15% off your next service. That is right, any service, 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE when scheduling online at ZeroResAtlanta.com.
My old mentor used to say, failure in your past doesn't eliminate purpose in your future. You don't need to let your failures rob you of the kind of impact God intends you to make in this world. He is the great Redeemer and the ultimate, endless second chance giver. Seek Him and cling to Him, and watch Him make your future purposeful and impactful. The Bible emphasizes how God gives fresh mercy to us every day. This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
At Shane Company, we've been engagement ring experts for almost 100 years. We have the largest selection of diamonds and gemstones in stock. You don't have to wait to compare them side by side. Find the one that speaks to you at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Right now, Beaver Toyota of Cumming is loaded with fresh inventory, and they're offering huge savings, low financing, and all the Beaver benefits. See them on the web at beavertoyotacumming.com. The Toyota Tundra from Beaver Toyota of Cumming, the official truck of the Home Fix-It Show.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather coming your way right now at 1:05, and Alex Williams is navigating you around from the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Got some better news on the west side perimeter. Those 285 crashes we had both north and southbound right around South Cobb Drive, exit 15. They've cleared out of the roadway, so the northbound delays from I-20 will improve, as well as southbound out of Smyrna Vinings. New crash in Gwinnett County between Swanee and Duluth, 85 southbound. Old Peachtree Road, exit 109. That crash is knocking out the right lane. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 94. An isolated pop-up shower or storm can't be ruled out, but mainly dry for this afternoon. Lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds, high 92. Partly cloudy on Friday, high 93.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather brought to you by Findlay Roofing. It's 86 degrees in Villa Rica, 86 in Alpharetta, 87 in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States from my flagship Atlanta, Georgia, WSB. We got to talk about the New York Times and it allowing the captain of the Titanic to give you advice on how to avoid icebergs. He did a joint op-ed with General Custer on how to survive Indian attacks. The phone number, if you want to be on the program, 877-973-7425. This is, this is bizarro land. I can't believe they did this. This is a headline from the New York Times. I was one of Biden's border advisors. Here's how to fix our immigration system. By Blaise Nunez-Nito. Mr. Nunez-Nito was an assistant secretary for border and immigration policy at the Department of Homeland Security during Joe Biden's administration. He was also on the Biden transition team, from what I've been told. Let me read for you the first two paragraphs. You will not be surprised. The first step in responding to a crisis is to acknowledge it exists. The surge in illegal crossings at our southern border during the first 3 years of Joe Biden's presidency was, by any reasonable definition, a crisis. The failure to acknowledge this reality and take timely action to try to resolve it cost Democrats a great deal of trust with American voters and contributed to President Trump's return to the White House. I had a front row view of all of this in my role as the Assistant Secretary for Border and Immigration Policy at the Department of Homeland Security. What I learned is that the border crisis is, to a large extent, an asylum crisis. Our broken immigration laws have increasingly incentivized economic migrants to claim that they fear persecution in order to start a lengthy administrative process that allows them to remain in the United States and work. The political left typically refers to these immigrants as asylum seekers because our laws allow them to make those claims. Many on the political right refer to them as criminals because they often say crossing the border without documentation is a crime. The fact that both views have at least some merit shows the dysfunction in our immigration laws. Only Congress can fix those laws, and until its members from both parties take action, the challenge at the border will continue. Wait. I gotta read one more paragraph. Illegal entries at our southern border started increasing in the summer and fall of 2020 when Mr. Trump was still in office. It turned into a tidal wave in 2021, even as Mr. Biden swung the pendulum too far to the left early in his term, including by announcing a 100-day pause on most deportations. I was in Del Rio, Texas in September 2021 and saw the chaos that resulted when as many as 15,000 people amassed under the International Bridge. Let me just read you again the bottom bio that the New York Times affixed to this person. Blaise Nunez-Nito was an assistant secretary for border and immigration policy at the Department of Homeland Security and later a deputy assistant to the president and White House senior advisor for migration and Southwest border coordination during the Biden administration. Neither the New York Times nor Blaise Nunez-Nito wished to call the situation at the southern border a crisis during the tenure of Joe Biden. They didn't want to acknowledge it was a crisis when Joe Biden was there. Now they're willing to tell the truth. At the time, they insisted dogmatically there was no crisis, and reporters, including those at the New York Times, towed the party line. There was no crisis. There was an increase in immigration, but it was not a crisis. Only now are they willing to tell the truth. Why are they now willing to tell the truth? So that they can attack Donald Trump's credibility. Right now, the border is relatively quiet, but we've traded a border crisis for a border-fueled crisis in governance. This includes the Trump administration's twisting the Alien Enemies Act to deny due process and send people that the administration asserts without proof in some cases are gang members to foreign prisons indefinitely, applying a foreign policy interest exception meant to be used rarely to revoke visas of people who say things the administration doesn't like, and attempting to end birthright citizenship. It's deployed Marines and the National Guard in response to largely peaceful meaning not entirely peaceful, protests and demonstrations in Los Angeles without the consent of state and local leaders. The relative quiet on our border has come at the significant cost of eroding our constitutional order. Wait a second. Why is the President of the United States doing dramatic things here? Because you people created a crisis and lied about it, and there's no accountability here. Nowhere in this piece does this man say, "I'm sorry. I apologize. We lied. We were wrong. Nowhere does this man say this that he caused the problem or that Joe Biden caused the problem. He says there was a crisis. He doesn't really say who caused the crisis. He only indirectly suggests that Joe Biden did it. But now we're supposed to believe him. This op-ed is indicative of a larger issue. Too many Democrats and members of the press were willing to run cover for Joe Biden, excuse Joe Biden, and dismiss concerns about Joe Biden's policies in the name of protecting the precious. It's the same thing time and time again with the cover-up of Joe Biden's mental decline, with the cover-up of immigration, with the cover-up of inflation, with the cover-up of the spending price. Time and time again, even members of the media are like, it's not really his fault. It's not really his fault. Yeah, it was his fault. And now that he's gone, they're willing to come out and say, hey, guys, it really was a crisis. Think about this with the left as well. The emotional investment members of the left went through to deny there was a crisis at the border, to have this guy come out after they've all lied for Joe Biden, insisted there was no crisis, to now have the guy who was in charge of the policy come out and say, yeah, turns out there was a crisis for 3 years. There was a real crisis. It's like they can come out now and say, yeah, actually, Joe Biden's big spending package did cause inflation. They haven't done that one yet. It's only a matter of time in order to get to Donald Trump. And that's why they're allowed to tell the truth in hindsight now in order to attack Donald Trump. They had to lie when Biden was president. Now they can attack Donald Trump with the truth. I'm sorry, but this is why people can't trust the American press corps. This is why you can't trust the New York Times. There's great reporting in the New York Times, by the way. I couldn't do my show, but for the reporting that comes from the Wall Street Journal, the Epoch Times, the New York Times, the Washington Post. I mean, I relay to you the news and analysis of the news and my opinion of the news. I don't have a staff of reporters. I got to rely on the newsrooms of America to do it. But I can certainly tell you the BS from the reporting. I can certainly tell you the hypocrisy from the reporting, and it is on full display at times like this. It is on full display in these situations. The fact of the matter is, these news organizations could have told the truth at the time. They could have told the truth, and they only tell the truth when it's politically convenient for them. Think about education for a minute. Let's segue to education. There was the other day a public press conference in California, and it was about legislation in California that would go after non-classroom-based charter schools. The legislation, it's Assembly Bill 84 in California. It would defund charter schools. It would force students into state-run schools, private charter schools that are set up in California. The California left through the legislature is going after charter schools, going after homeschools. This comes as Republicans in Washington are seeking to revoke the national charter of the National Education Association, which had some bizarro meetings last week and the week before, where a lot of them were caught on tape saying wild things like children don't belong to their parents. The children belong to them. And you'll notice the national media isn't covering the left's attack on charter schools, the left's attack on homeschools, the left's attack on parents' rights. They're not covering that stuff in the same way they would cover the border, but not as a crisis. It's how they cover the story so often. They don't want you to know that California lawmakers want to kill charter schools as Republicans are embracing public school alternatives. California lawmakers are defining themselves. They're being radicalized by their critics. They're willing to kill successful charter schools and put people back in failing public schools because the Republicans don't like public schools. Time and time again, the left decides that whatever the right likes, they hate. Whatever the right hates, they love. There was never a massive moment for Drag Queen Story Hour until people on the right started complaining about it happening on occasion, and then the guys on the left were like, hey, we need to mandate Drag Queen Story Hour. They want to define themselves in opposition to the right, not by doing what is right, but in opposition to the political right. And so when the political right looks at the crisis at the border, looks at the crisis in public education and says there's a problem, the left's gut reaction is not that the right is correct on the issue. The left is, no, they can't be. We can't cede the ground. We can't cede the argument. And the brilliance for the right of this is that by the left's refusing to cede any argument at all, the right keeps winning. Because it's common sense. Because of common sense, people understand there was a crisis at the border. Because of common sense, people understand that the border is overwhelmed. Because of common sense, people understand public schools are failing. Because of common sense, people understand that children belong to their parents, not the state. They're not, parents aren't proxies on behalf of the state. People understand that stuff innately. People understand it. And the left has had to program themselves against common sense, and it's why they keep losing. There's some polling out right now that suggests that the Democrats have a massive advantage for the midterms because their base is so much more fired up. The midterms are still over 400 days away. I don't know that that's actually the case. I genuinely, I don't know that it's actually the case, because I think when Americans who are considering sitting it out, they're disaffected by the economy, what have you, they're tired of Donald Trump, they're not going to want these insane people who are attacking homeschoolers and charter schools and denying a crisis at the border and defending the drug dealers and the gangbangers who want to stay in the country. I just don't think people are going to want them to come back into power. And to the extent the voters may decide, well, we need an opposition to check Donald Trump by giving them by giving them the House of Representatives, come 2028, are they really going to want to let them back in the power? Back in the White House? Back where they can undo Donald Trump's reforms that protected people? I don't know that they are. The problem here for the left is that they could win in 2026 just because Trump supporters, they've got Donald Trump right now. They're probably going to keep the Senate so they can rest on their laurels and give the Democrats something. But the Democrats are still crazy. And people don't want crazy back in leadership. And when the Democrats double down on this sort of stuff and say, hey, we lied to you for 3 years about a border crisis and now we can admit it, but we're only admitted it in order to attack Donald Trump, I just don't think that's going to go over well with the bulk of the voters of America who are deeply concerned about the situation at the border still, even as Donald Trump has closed the border. They're still worried about the MS-13 gangbangers in the country that the Democrats are protecting. They're still worried about their kids' futures. The Democrats have nothing to offer on any of those issues.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
120 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. New trouble in Marietta. It's a stall in the second left lane, 75 northbound, just before North Marietta Parkway, exit 265. That's slow on the ride back toward Delk Road. Had a right lane crash in Swanee, 85 southbound, before Old Peachtree Road, exit 109. That has since cleared. All lanes are back open there. Traffic brought to you by your neighborhood Kroger Pharmacy. Kroger Pharmacy welcomes Express Scripts, Medicare D, and TRICARE Department of Defense plan members. You can transfer prescriptions at Kroger.com/payer-update. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Is your summer vacation going to be a week at the beach?
Oh, yeah!
That week at the beach could be yours if you win $1,000 on $1,000 Thursdays.
That's awesome!
It's $1,000 Thursdays on WSB.
Your chance to win $1,000 every hour between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Thursdays.
Listen for the keyword at WSBradio.com or on the WSB app.
You made my life very happy.
Get all the info at WSBradio.com.
Awesome!
$1,000 Thursdays tomorrow
From 95.5 WSB.
where Atlanta wins.
Hey, it's Scott Slade for FGA Roofing. If your home's exterior could use an updated look, or maybe one of your neighbor's designer roofs has caught your eye, and your current roof has started to show its age, then now's the perfect time to check out FGA Roofing for the latest in architectural shingles, timberland shingles, and more. Slate, tile, wood shake, cedar roofs, FGA has them all. FGA Roofing offers 0% financing for 12 months with your good credit. Get the roof you want now and pay over time. Click firstgaroof.com. That's firstgaroof.com.
Men, are you having problems performing in the bedroom? Do pills like Viagra and Cialis leave you feeling frustrated? Well, now there's new hope for men who suffer from ED and PE problems. Meet Dr. Katz, a specialist in men's health.
Hey guys, I'm Dr. Katz with Choice Men's Health. Regardless of your age or medical condition, Choice Men's Health can safely restore your sexual potency. Our customized solutions can eliminate your problem in just one visit. There's no pain, no surgery, and it's affordable.
Guys, don't let the anxiety over your performance get you down. We can get you back in the game. Call Choice Men's Health today to find out how you can eliminate ED on the very first visit. Call 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, and I'm so excited to invite you to our designer pop-up event July 19th and 20th. Come see extended lines of engagement rings, wedding bands, plus brand new wedding day and fashion jewelry from the top designers in the industry, like Veragio's handcrafted blend of the trends and looks of today with the timeless vintage beauty of the past. So don't just look for a ring, find the perfect ring at D. Geller & Son's designer pop-up event July 19th and 20th in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs. RSVP online at dgeller.com.
Dad, how do you fix all those air conditioners in this heat?
Well, I stay cool knowing I'm keeping other families comfortable.
That's what we do at Jape Services. We're a family-owned company, and we take pride in showing up on time, doing the job right, and treating every home with respect.
Like how you always wear those boot covers inside, and how you triple check everything before you leave.
That's the Jape Services way.
So, if you need an AC tune-up or repair,
call our dad at Jape Services.
From our family to yours, we'll keep your home cool and comfortable all summer long.
The local folks at Breda Pest Management know my house inside and out, and they've customized a unique plan that stops bugs and critters. Hey friends, it's Mark Aram. With Breda, it's always a familiar local person servicing my home and answering my calls. Never an irritating automated call center. Breda cares more. They're our neighbors, and they'll work harder for you. Doing it better is what the Breda family does. Get started at BREDAPest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here. I will take your phone calls when we get back from the next break, 877-973-7425. I don't have enough time to do them justice here. Mr. President, yesterday on Truth Social, you attacked your supporters who care about the Jeffrey Epstein matter and called it BS, except you used the full word, that you ever promoted the Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy stuff. I would suggest to you, Mr. President, that instead of insulting people who supported you and gaslighting them by saying you didn't do what you actually did, why don't you do the special counsel route? Why don't you say we got to stop talking about it because there's a special counsel looking at it, and hand it over to a special counsel to look? You've now got some of your supporters, including in talk radio, claiming maybe you are on the list and maybe this is a cover-up to protect you, which I think is nonsense. There should be a list of names that came into contact with Jeffrey Epstein from a competent investigation, and there's no formal Jeffrey Epstein created list, I don't think. I don't think there ever was. You talk to the lawyers of the victims. People have insisted there had to be a blackmail list or something. There doesn't appear to be. The lawyers for the victims have long said there wasn't, but surely there is a list of people, and I think it's safe to say that you should come out and say there are a lot of names of people who interacted innocently with Jeffrey Epstein. We don't want to tar and feather those people. We don't want to ruin lives of innocent people who happen to have some connection to him not knowing who he was, but we certainly want to get to the bottom of it, so we're handing it over to a special counsel and let the special counsel sort through what can be released, and of that cannot be released, explain to us honestly why it cannot be released. Because allowing Pam Bondi to continue is a breach of trust, I think, with the people who have supported you on this issue, because she's incompetent to handle it further given her missteps. And attacking and insulting the people who backed you, who believed the Epstein matter, even though I'm not one of them who ever did, I think handing it off to a special counsel is a way for you to do some legit damage control on this and make people happy. Now, you'll be happy if you go to the EdenPureDeals.com website and get Eden Pure Thunderstorms. You can get 3 of them and save $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. They're air purifiers. They're also odor eliminators. I don't actually use it as the air purifier component. I use it for the odor elimination, and it really works well for odor elimination. I've used them in my kitchen. Particularly, the last time I used it, I was frying in the kitchen, and I used peanut oil. It got the oil really hot. And there was that fry smell in the kitchen. I've used it when I've been making gumbo at night, because you got to get the roux real dark and it gets a little smoky. And my family, sadly, doesn't love the smell of gumbo like I do. And so I've used the Eden Pure Thunderstorm to wipe out those odors. You can get 3 of them upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV. You can hold it in your hand. It's small. It's highly portable. Plug it in with a USB cord. Plug it into the wall. You go to EdenPureDeals.com. Use the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3, ERIC3 at EdenPureDeals.com, and you'll be able to get 3 of them and save $200. EdenPureDeals.com.
More local news.
Atlanta's airport's bracing for record-breaking crowds. Apparent murder in the Grant Park area.
More traffic.
A crash in the Cobb Cloverleaf.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
You're on and off the brakes beginning at University.
More weather.
Looking at rotation that is near the city of Brooks. Thunderstorm is capable of producing a quick spin-up tornado.
Atlanta's Morning News.
Governor Kemp reacting to that tariff pause.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB.
How Atlanta starts its day.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 1:30. I'm Veronica Waters. News this half hour brought to you by Ben Hill Renovations. WSB's top local story: the grandfather of a Carroll County teenager charged with murdering her mother and stepfather insists Sarah Patrick is innocent.
I think some people are getting the wrong impression that that she turned herself in because she felt like she was guilty. That's not an admission of guilt. It was, they put a warrant out for her arrest, and she did what was right.
The Carroll County Sheriff's Office says Kristen and James Brock were found shot to death at a home in February. Sarah Patrick was 16 at the time. Authorities say she is being charged as an adult. The family of an Atlanta church deacon sits down with Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis today. They say the district attorney let them know she plans to decide within a couple of weeks whether charges will be filed against the Atlanta policeman who tased Holloman, leading to his death following a fender bender. Volunteers are seeking homes for several cats left behind at a College Park apartment complex that was condemned and set for demolition. The Tri-Cities Home for Kitties says about a dozen cats need new homes after the place was abruptly shut down. No serious injuries are reported after a car crashes into a townhome not far from the Marietta Square. Marietta police say it happened near Lemon Street and Cole Street. The agency is working on getting the vehicle removed, and they're urging all the drivers to avoid the area. Georgia Tech will soon be home to a supercomputer powered by artificial intelligence. Tech says this $20 million machine could lead to breakthroughs in the development of new medicine, our understanding of the human brain, and even innovation in manufacturing. It's 1:32. Live team coverage of traffic and weather next.
Our research shows the number one fear for retirees: uncontrollable economic and market swings. And after the last 5 years, that's totally understandable. But here's the good news. Happy retirees are twice as likely versus unhappy to have a financial plan. A plan can calm those worries. My team at Capital Investment Advisors would love to help your family build a plan you can feel confident about. Just pick a time that works for you at yourwealth.com. That's yourwealth.com.
Hey, if you got weekend plans, make sure your home is ready for them. I called Wise Guys Pro Wash, and boom, the house, driveway, and patio were spotless. They even cleaned the roof. I didn't even have to be home. They are truly professionals using the top equipment in the industry, and their soft washing kept my home safe and damage-free, and the results, incredible. Wise Guys has more than 2,000 five-star reviews, and I know why now. So mention me, Chris Chandler, for $70 off your next service. Book today at wiseguysprowash.com.
You've worked hard to make your home energy efficient, but did you think about your garage door? It's the largest opening in your house. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of all Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. This summer, save money on your energy bills and replace your old door with a beautiful, energy-efficient garage door. We offer affordable prices on a huge selection of styles, colors, and custom features. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 seasonsgarages.com.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
It's 1:34. Live team coverage of traffic and weather is about to come your way right now. We're going to start you off with Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Better news in Marietta. A crash just moved off to the right thanks to our Hero unit. 75 and northbound before the North 120 loop exit 265. And in Cherokee County, Holly Springs crash partially in that left lane. 575 southbound Holly Springs Parkway exit 14 causing a tap of the brakes as you leave Canton. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid this afternoon, high 94.
It's 88 degrees in Milton, 86 in Marietta, and 87 in Midtown Atlanta at 1:35. More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
My fellow Americans, welcome. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Let me take Mel's phone call here. Welcome to the show, Mel. How are you?
Hey, Eric. How you doing, man?
Great.
Good, good. Hey, I love your show, Eric.
Thank you.
But my condolences, man, on the spelling of your name.
I'm used to it. I got 50 years of getting used to it.
Okay. Have you ever heard this? My middle name is E-R-I-C, and it happens to be in the middle of the name of my favorite country on the face of the earth.
Which you
America.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
That works.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, what I want to talk to you about is NPR, Eric. NPR. I listen to a lot of NPR, Eric, and I'm telling you, man, there are some valuable programs on NPR. But when it comes to the news, they are decidedly liberal, and I would even say communist, Marxist, socialist.
Yeah.
But this is my thinking here. Even if it was 50-50, if some independent organization said it was 50-50, it was fair and balanced, with the degree of debt of this country, isn't it time to cut back?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was 50. And let me share a quick anecdote, and I'll shut up. I remember Rush Limbaugh coming on one time, man, saying that Harry Reid had something in his district called Cowboy Poetry. And they would spend $250,000 for that weekend for cowboys to read poetry to one another. And he fought tooth and nail to not let that be cut. And Rush went to a break. Before he went to that break, he said, folks, if we can't cut back on cowboy poetry, where in the hell can we cut back?
Mm-hmm. He's right. And I mean, this is the point. Mel, listen, I appreciate your phone call. And the point, look, NPR, I grew up listening to Car Talk. Y'all remember Car Talk back in the day? You could call in, tell them what was wrong with your car over the phone, and they could almost every time get right what was wrong with your car. It was a fun show to listen to. Commercial free on public radio. When I was a kid, they played classical music. They don't play as much classical music on a lot of public radio stations now, but it's about the only outlet where you get classical music station because there aren't a lot of people who like to listen to classical music. I love classical music. My son loves classical music, and now I get it on my phone. I don't need it on public radio. But the news on public radio has always been to the left. It's always been to the left. And that they deny it just shows you the level of bias at public radio as to how far left they must be to look at themselves and say, no, we're completely fair. When they put a conservative voice on, the conservative voice is someone who voted for Barack Obama and Joe Biden. They're not fair. They're not balanced. And by the way, this is the 21st century. Almost every single person, including a poor person, has a connected device in their pocket where they can get the news. They don't need national public radio. In fact, you're more likely to find someone these days without a radio than with a phone. So why do you need it? More and more people are disconnecting from TV. I mean, it's why people are betting against TV and radio right now, and yet NPR thinks it needs to continue to have subsidies from you and me to be able to exist. It's got a bunch of rich white people with tote bags who can write a check. They already do fundraisers. They licensed Sesame Street to HBO for a while. They make a killing off merchandise for Sesame Street. They don't need our taxpayer dollars. And we, with a debt of $39 trillion, have to cut something. If you can't cut the Corporation for Public Broadcasting's meager allocation from the federal government, you can't cut anything. That should be like the easiest thing to cut from the federal budget, given we're in the 21st century and fewer people watch it anyway, and it's certainly a taxpayer-funded weapon against Republicans. Cut it. Cut it. Spencer, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. Spencer, how are you?
Hey, I'm well, Eric. How about you?
Great. What's going on?
Good. Very thankful for your program. You're doing the Lord's work, as they say.
Thank you.
You made the point yesterday, and you've made it many times in the past, that there's no such thing as permanence in politics, and that one day the Democrats will be back in power. And I think we're seeing a lot of potential changes in the Democrat Party, and I'm wondering, what do you think the next iteration of Democrats in power is going to look like?
I actually think there's going to be some level of moderation that's going to happen.
I hope so.
I think there's got to be a level of moderation, in large part because they're so far left right now, and they think that's the majority, and there's not. I mean, the only caveat there is if Republicans really screw up in 28 and are really divided after Trump leaves, and populist movements tend to gravitate towards an individual, and when the individual goes away, the movement divides. I think the Republicans have to be very careful there, but I think the Democrats, they're going to have someone who at least doesn't sound like a communist. And maybe privately they are, and they got sympathies, but if they can't figure out how to talk to middle America again, they're going to have a problem. And Spencer, this is a perfect tie-in to the NPR situation. People who listen to national public radio and get their news from NewsHour on PBS, they don't actually relate. They don't relate to the American people. They don't talk like the American people. They don't believe in the American people. They don't engage in ways that you and I talk. They don't go to Little League games in the Midwest. They're not in they're not in restaurants down in the South that are I mean, very mixed race. They have this idea that the South is super racist. You know, so I will tell you, I feel comfortable now saying it because it works so well. I was talking about, racial progress in the South on stage on Saturday night. And I said, I'll leave out the other stuff and just said it, and you could hear people like hold their breath, hoping, please let him land this. I said that, we've progressed so far in the South with race relations that my family and I use the N-word, neighbors. And yeah, the whole crowd, you could just like, and then they breathe out when I got it right. It's like, I got one stab at this to either get it right or get canceled. Neighbors. I, a conservative talk radio show host, actually live in statistically the most demographically diverse neighborhood in Middle Georgia. My neighbor to the left of me is a white guy. My neighbor to the right of me is black. His neighbor across the street is from India. Their neighbor next to them is white. Their neighbor next to them is from India, and their neighbor next to them is from Hong Kong. We are a deeply diverse neighborhood, and everybody gets along well together. And that is the modern South. And yet you listen to the voices on NPR, you listen to the voices of the Democratic Party, and they're convinced that these are pockets of bigotry around the country. There's still racism. Don't get me wrong. It still exists. But you know where the real racists are these days is the upper income progressives in New York and Washington, D.C., and San Francisco and Los Angeles who think that every black person in America can't get ahead unless they have a government program to help them. Real racism there. And in the process, they catastrophize everything. Everything is a disaster now. Everything is a catastrophe. Let me read for you some of the op-eds at the New York Times from the last 2 days. Here's my favorite. I'm a genocide scholar. I know it when I see it. This is from Omer Barto, a professor of Holocaust and genocide studies at Brown University. My inescapable conclusion has become that Israel is committing genocide against the Palestinian people. Having grown up in a Zionist home, lived the first half of my life in Israel, served in the IDF as a soldier and officer, and spent most of my career researching and writing on war crimes and the Holocaust, this was a painful conclusion to reach, and one I resisted as long as I could, but I've been teaching classes on genocide for a quarter of a century. I can recognize one when I see one. And who does this guy cite? Francesca Albanese, a UN special rapporteur for the West Bank and Gaza and Amnesty International. She and that organization, longtime anti-Semites, she in particular is being sanctioned by the United States for her anti-Israel, anti-Zionist, anti-Semitic statements and sentiments. And this guy says, I grew up in a Zionist home and this is genocide. You're a Brown University professor and a big lib. Shocking you came to the conclusion that all the progressives agree with. And then there's Linda Greenhouse, who used to report on the Supreme Court of the United States, who was always super liberal, and now she's an opinion columnist for the New York Times. We will regret not standing up to this venomous cruelty. Listen to this neuroticism. I have a home in the Los Angeles area, and my recent weeks there encompassed the deployment of the Marines and the federalization of California's National Guard. I steeled myself every morning to read the granular reporting in the Los Angeles Times of scenes that I could not have imagined just months ago. People snatched up while waiting at a bus stop in peaceful Pasadena. The undocumented father of 3 Marines taken at his landscaping job. Pinned down and punched by masked federal agents before being thrown into detention. People whose quiet presence among us was tolerated for decades as they paid their taxes and raised their American children are now hunted down like animals, so fearful of even going grocery shopping that Los Angeles nonprofits have mobilized to deliver food to their doors. Make it easy for the ICE agents to find out where they live. Now listen, this is the height of progressive white woman neuroticism. I was taking an early morning walk in my neighborhood when a black SUV with tinted windows slowed to a stop a half block ahead. I considered, if this is ICE coming to take someone, should I intervene? Start filming? Make sure the victims know their rights? Or just keep walking? Secure in the knowledge that no one was coming for me. The car turned out to be an airport limo picking up a passenger, and I was left to ponder how bizarre it was to feel obliged to run through such a mental triage on a summer afternoon on an American city street. Something beyond the raw politics of immigration lies behind the venomous cruelty on display, and I think it is this: to everyone involved, from the policymakers in Washington to the masked agents on the street, undocumented individuals are the other. People who not only lack legal rights as a formal matter, but also stand outside the web of connections that define human society. Tom Homan, the Trump administration border czar, refers to undocumented immigrants as the gotaways, the ones we didn't catch. You know, the gotaways are actually a phrase. It is the ones who didn't check in with the Border Patrol and made it into the country, and we don't know who they are, where they are. They're working to find them. The level of neuroticism from these people is absurd to me. By the way, notice the problem is not the Biden administration's flagrant disregard for border security that caused the problem. The problem is cleaning up the problem. The problem is cleaning up the problem Joe Biden caused. By the way, a majority of Americans support what Donald Trump is doing. That the left can't even be honest about it. Undocumented migrants, they can't even use the phrase illegal aliens. They can't acknowledge that these people aren't supposed to be in the country. I think we need to treat people kindly, even the ones that we're deporting from the country. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But at the same time, if I was illegally in a country, I would expect that country to respect the rule of law and deport me. I actually wouldn't go to a country and be an illegal alien because I believe I should do unto others as I want them to do unto me. And I wouldn't want to trespass in someone's country illegally, so they shouldn't trespass into my country illegally. And the fact that the left is catastrophizing everything, it's the second coming of the Gestapo. These people are unhinged, and you can't let those people get back into power. And I think the American people will reject that level of neuroticism by the left. I assume they will, at least. Hillsdale College has a class on citizenship and why it's got to be respected, the importance of it. You can take it for free and get a certificate of completion when you're done. You go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. You show up at the website, ericforhillsdale.com, and you'll see one right now on capitalism, which is a great class. They're individual, about 30-minute episodes. Some have 7 episodes, some have 10. Some classes last 7 hours, some last 12 hours. You can see for yourself, pick the ones you want, but each episode is like 30 minutes. They're video lectures for the professors. You do it at your own pace, and when you're done, you get a certificate of completion, and it's free from Hillsdale College. You learn something about a topic you're deeply interested in. ericforhillsdale.com. You sign up with Hillsdale College today. You get involved. You learn what makes them unique. You can see very quickly in taking one of these classes why it's harder to get into Hillsdale now than Harvard. It's a fantastic conservative institution, but it's education, it's not indoctrination, and it's truth over tribe. It's Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Go sign up with Hillsdale College today. You won't pay a penny. You can get a certificate of completion when you get done with the course, and you improve your mind. You learn about something you're interested in.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still watching the brake lights start to fill in through downtown. The Beaver Spring Connector is getting pretty slow heading southbound from Sidney Marcus Boulevard. A lot of that pressure trying to ramp onto 85 South to head into Midtown and downtown. Crash now on the left and right shoulder in Holly Springs, 575 southbound at Holly Springs Parkway, exit 14. That should help improve the ride out of Canton. Traffic brought to you by Georgia Aquarium. This summer, experience bioluminescence and all things light during glow nights at the Georgia Aquarium. Save $10 after 4 p.m. Just visit georgiaaquarium.org. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
All the notifications you need.
The story developing in Marietta.
All the local and breaking news alerts you need.
We're following breaking news in Atlanta.
All in one place.
The 95.5 WSB app.
Download it today.
Your neighbors won't say what they're thinking, but I will. Your siding is hideous. Dave Baker here for the only siding company I recommend, Nelson Exteriors. Your ugly siding is faded, warped, cracked, rotting, and just falling apart. Nelson will properly install beautiful new siding with unmatched quality and craftsmanship so it lasts and lasts. They're licensed, insured, and a James Hardy Elite Preferred Contractor. Count on Nelson for an extraordinary renovation. Google Nelson Exteriors. At Jape Services, family isn't just a slogan, it's how we do business.
Our family has been helping homeowners with their heating and cooling since 1978.
And now, we're riding along just like our dad did when he was 14.
And today, we're here to help your family stay cool and comfortable. If your AC is struggling, call Jape Services for honest pricing, expert heating and cooling repair, or replacement.
Decades of experience, family-run values, service you can trust.
Let our family take care of your family.
Jape Services.
This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union, inviting you to come see us for your auto loan needs. If you're buying a car or refinancing your current auto loan, at Coosa Valley Credit Union, you'll get one of the lowest interest rates in the market, as low as 3.49 APR when you open an account with a direct deposit. Coosa Valley Credit Union is local and nearby in Northwest Georgia. Plus, you'll always speak to a real person when dealing with us. That's what we call kinder banking.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal Opportunity Lender.
Summer is peak hosting season, right? Don't let a grimy house keep you from having company over. It's Chris Chandler, and Wise Guys Pro Wash got my place clean and bright and guest ready in just one day. They handled everything, house and deck, driveway, even my dirty roof, and their soft wash kept everything safe. No paint peel, no damage, just clean. If you got people coming over this summer, be sure Wise Guys Pro Wash comes by first. Mention me, Chris Chandler, for $70 off at wiseguysprowash.com. Book now before they fill up.
Summer heat will only lend a hand to all that's growing in your crawl space. Dave Baker here. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions will encapsulate it to keep mold, pests, and the unwanted out. Visit aquaguard.net for your free inspection.
AquaGuard. Listen up, because women have long waited for the world to recognize the importance of our health.
Northside Hospital goes beyond "we hear you" to "we're out here with you," because women deserve more than open ears.
They deserve open doors, and 1 ounce of action is worth 1,000 words.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work for you.
This is a house call. Heard. Learn more at northside.com/heard.
Here's what you'll get at Wolfpan European Auto Repair in Roswell. Honest pricing, factory-trained certified technicians, and real car lovers working on your Porsche, BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz. Just search Wolfpan Auto Repair and see the difference.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, America. You should know that the new border data that has been compiled for the month of June shows the lowest month of encounters ever recorded at the southern border. And this means that the May record was the lowest encounters ever, and now June is lower than May, which is a fantastic thing. Now, speaking of neurotic progressives who catastrophize everything, the owners of a Denver cafe is finding out there's some truth to the old adage, no good deed goes unpunished. Jamie Sanchez owns the Drip Cafe in Denver, Colorado. When he's not brewing up a cup of your favorite caffeinated beverage, he's running a homeless ministry called Recycle God's Love. He started the organization in 2012 with his wife, who has since passed away from cancer. What started as a small group offering Bible studies and meals for the homeless has grown into a community action that now includes churches, businesses, and volunteers working together to help the homeless. But in a blue city like Denver, even feeding the homeless is controversial when the person doing it has different politics. It was really strange, actually, because we all of a sudden started getting messages on Instagram about how we hate gay people and just random comments like that, Sanchez said, speaking to Fox News. And come to find out, there was an organized group ready to protest the opening of our cafe before we even opened. We did some digging, and we found out it was strictly because we're Christians. Over the years, it has just grown into an amazing community of believers and people who really have a heart to help people and do it selflessly. So he started a cafe, the profits of which go to help the homeless community. And on opening day, a local group called the Denver Communists held up signs and passed out flyers accusing the coffee shop of being run by a right-wing church that hated the LGBTQ community. There you have it, folks. The catastrophizing of the left. They want to shut down a coffee shop that is using its profits to help the homeless community of Denver. And have you been to Denver? There are homeless drug addicts everywhere. And this institution actually supports helping the homeless, helping them get to rehab, helping them learn and share the gospel, helping them recover their lives. And the local communists, Antifa activists, and progressive activists are trying to shut them down. They tried to invite in the communist protesters, and the response was to tell the owner to go kill himself. Evil. Evil. Monsters. By the way, you should know Mr. Sanchez, he is a very brown-skinned Hispanic man. And they don't care. This gives you a glimpse into the demented worldview of progressive left these days. That you've got a guy who is devoted to helping fight homelessness, who starts a coffee shop and devotes the profits to helping the homeless, and the local communists and progressive activists show up to shut him down because he's accused of hating gay people. Never mind, he's actually helping solve the homeless problem in Denver, Colorado. These people are demented. When we come back, Israel is bombing Syria, and the media isn't really telling you truthfully why Israel is bombing Syria. But I will tell you the truth and why it's actually a good thing that they're doing it, saving a lot of lives in the process of bombing parts of Damascus and elsewhere in Syria.
Thursday at 5 on Atlanta's Morning News, Clark Howard in depth on what he thinks is a transition year for the housing market here. Join us on WSB.
Hey, this is Robbie with Ben Hill Renovations, the preferred deck experts heard on the Home Fix-It Show. We're well known for our superior craftsmanship for decks and outdoor living spaces. And at Ben Hill Renovations, we provide that same attention to detail when it comes to roofing, siding, windows, and doors. So get your project started today and call to schedule a free estimate. Or you can stop by our showroom in Douglasville, online at bhrenovations.com. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
The average baby boomer's 401k, just under $250,000. Gen X, closer to $200,000. How do your retirement savings stack up? No matter your age, the right moves today can completely change your financial future. That's why we created retirement planning at every age. A free guide with smart strategies, key milestones, and steps to stay on track. Download your copy today at yourwealth.com/resources. Let's get your future on the right track starting today.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story and update today on the investigation into the death of Atlanta deacon Johnny Holloman. His family meets again with District Attorney Fani Willis.
Hope is the word Johnny Holloman's daughter Arnitra uses to describe how she's feeling after the latest meeting with DA Willis.
It's been a lot, 2 years too long.
The family is calling for charges against the officer who tased Holloman and a tow truck driver who got involved. Attorney Mawali Davis says it was a positive meeting.
It's positive because when you go in and they don't say that it's over, then we receive that as
God is still working.
Davis says they hope for a decision on charges in the coming weeks. Outside the Fulton County Courthouse, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
90 degrees in Atlanta, still hot and humid, but less storm chances this afternoon. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. The grandfather of a teen accused of shooting and killing her mother and stepfather in Carroll County believes the girl is innocent.
17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick recently turned herself in for the February deaths of Kristen and James Brock, but Dennis Nolan tells me he doesn't believe his granddaughter's even physically capable of carrying out such a crime.
Clear to these charges. I mean, if they don't have anything, they need to let her go, at least give her bond.
Nolan says he's had the chance to speak with Patrick by phone.
She was crying. She was upset. She said, "Why are they doing this to me? And please get me out of here."
The Carroll County Sheriff's Office says it's confident she's responsible. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is among the Republicans calling for the release of documents related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
You know, I think it's just a red line that it crosses for many people. Jeffrey Epstein is literally the most well-known convicted pedophile in modern-day history.
President Trump is lashing out at his supporters today over their demands. He calls it a hoax. After a father of three from Metro Atlanta is remembered as a hero after drowning while rescuing several people from rip currents off the coast of South Carolina. 38-year-old Chase Childers of Dallas was pulled from the water off Pawleys Island. Police say he ran into the water to help 5 people. They were all saved, but he got caught up in the rip current and died. His family says Childers is a former Cobb County police officer who had received a Lifetime Achievement Award for saving lives. A potential tropical storm is expected to drench the Gulf Coast. There are storm warnings for much of the Gulf, stretching as far west as Louisiana. The National Hurricane Center is giving it a 40% chance of development. It is now 2:02. This news is sponsored by Bread Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, and I'm so excited to invite you to our designer pop-up event July 19th and 20th. Come see extended lines of engagement rings, wedding bands, plus brand new wedding day and fashion jewelry from the top designers in the industry, like Tacori's signature crescent designs that give your ring a personal artisan touch. So don't just look for a ring, find the perfect ring at D. Geller & Son's designer pop-up event July 19th and 20th in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs. RSVP online at dgeller.com.
It's our 20th anniversary at North Georgia Replacement Windows, and we're celebrating with our biggest sale in company history.
It's Ted and Jonathan. For a limited time, save 25% on beautiful Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows and doors.
Celebrate with us and upgrade your home's energy efficiency, comfort, and curb appeal. Window and door shopping made simple.
Hurry, 25% savings ends July 31st.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
Belinda Skelton here with Atlanta Vision Institute's very own Dr. Ashraf, who is one of the most experienced eye surgeons in the country. Dr. Ashraf, we've all watched the news and the economy is uncertain, but failing eyesight isn't. And if you've held back due to finances, we've got good news for you, don't we?
Yes, Belinda, as you know, our eyesights degrade as we age. And with the laser optics procedure, that resets all of that. And most of my patients go most of the day without glasses. They can even read their phone without glasses. And in terms of the economy, most of these patients, their medical insurance can cover most of the costs. And if it doesn't, we have a lot of good financing options for this procedure.
That's awesome, Dr. Ashraf. I urge you to take the quiz to see if you're a candidate. Go to 2020atlanta.com. That's 2020atlanta.com.
Joel, it's Eric. I know some of you are concerned about tariff prices impacting things in your lives, including kitchen remodels. Well, listen to this. You can book an appointment this month with Frugal Kitchens and get the Frugal Price Lock. They will lock you into pre-tariff prices. All you got to do is Google Frugal Kitchens for details, and they're offering 0% financing. You want your kitchen remodeled. You want to add value to your home. You're worried about tariffs. Here's your opportunity. Google Frugal Kitchens. Start that kitchen redesign today.
It is 2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Better news in Holly Springs as you make your way south from Canton into Holly Springs. Crash cleared all to the left and right shoulder, 575 southbound Holly Springs Parkway. Picking up a new slow zone on 285 northbound, the outer loop through Tucker. Passing La Vista Road exit 37, we'll investigate that. And construction clearing from the right lane into Cab 20 eastbound past Wesley Chapel Road exit 68. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 94. An isolated pop-up shower or storm can't be ruled out, but mainly dry for this afternoon. Lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds, high 92. Partly cloudy on Friday, high 93.
85 now in Douglasville, 86 in Alpharetta, 84 in Hampton. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
My fellow Americans, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number across the nation, 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, it's ERICK. If you text ERIC, ERICK, to 33777, you can follow along with me on the internet. You should follow me on Instagram. I'll be cooking some this weekend, among other things. Got to make ribs for the boy. He wants baby back ribs this weekend, so I'll be cooking them. At some point, I guess, got to write a cookbook. Now, we must move to the Druze in Israel. You're going to hear some, I suspect, about the Druze, but let me read for you some headlines from left-wing publications. This is The Guardian. Israel strikes Syria's defense ministry in third day of attacks. This is from the BBC. Syria condemns flagrant assault after Israel strikes military headquarters in Syria. This is from the Washington Post. Israel bombs Damascus, stoking conflict with Syria's new government. You actually have to dig deep to actually get what's going on, and you can get what's going on actually from CNN. Powerful Israeli strikes rock Damascus as Syrian forces clash with the Druze militia. The Druze are an Arab religion. It is not, contrary to what you might hear in the press, it is not a branch of Islam. No Muslim considers the Druze to be Islamic, and no Druze considers the Druze to be Islamic. They are widely believed, although no one really knows where they came from. They're an amalgamation of Arab tribes that moved into the Levant region, moved into the Middle East, really the Lebanon, Syria, Israel area. And they have kept to themselves. There are about 1 million of them globally, mostly in that area. And it is a very unique religious amalgamation of beliefs. And one of the most interesting aspects of the Druze beliefs is that you can't convert into Druidism, whatever they call it. There are very few interfaith marriages. That's deeply discouraged. And you can't convert. Some people claim that you can, but you can't convert into it. They actually believe in a series of rebirths that ultimately your soul begins to move back into the cosmic mind. And it is a blend of ideas from Christianity and from Islam and from Gnosticism and from Zoroastrianism and Manichaeism and Pythagoreanism. For those of you unfamiliar with Pythagoras, beyond the Pythagorean theorem you learned in high school geometry, Pythagoras, there's an entire religious movement around Pythagoras, very similar to the Socratic method of inquiry and the growth and birth and rebirth of wisdom. And it's all kind of interwoven into the Druze faith. They are an ethnic religious minority in the Middle East that believe in reincarnation, the eternity of the soul. They have some tenets common to the Abrahamic religions of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. They are a distinct minority. And a lot of them live in Syria. And the Syrians promised, when they overthrew Bashar al-Assad and the leadership in Syria that had been connected to ISIS declared it was moderating, they had agreed to leave the Druze minority alone, and they have engaged in an actual genocide. Unlike what's happening in Gaza, in Syria, there are Islamic radicals trying to eliminate the Druze. The Druze are a protected Arab minority by Israel. The Druze are not really nomadic anymore in that area, but they have cross-border relationships. And the Israelis, contrary to what you may hear from the national and international press corps, is committed to preserving the Druze and Christian minorities in northern Israel and Syria. So they're bombing parts of Syria because of this extermination campaign against the Druze. And again, for all of the talk about Israel engaged in genocide in Gaza, you're not actually hearing about the actual genocidal campaign happening in Syria, and the video that's come out is wild. The Syrian government says it's not us, it's these Islamic radicals, and the Syrian government is not capable of taking them on, and so Israel is doing so, but Israel believes the Syrians are actually engaged in helping. Let me read you just so you know where the source is, the Washington Post here. Israel carried out what it said were dozens of strikes Wednesday across Syria, including in the capital, escalating a conflict with a new Syrian government already grappling with a deadly episode of domestic sectarian unrest. Israel tied Wednesday's strikes and others it carried out earlier in the week to Syria's internal conflict, saying it was attacking government forces to protect the Druze minority from Syria's Islamist leadership. The Trump administration, which has tried to ease Syria's isolation by easing sanctions, did not call for Israel to halt its attacks. Marco Rubio, speaking of the White House, blamed the violence on a misunderstanding between Israel and Syria stemming from sectarian tensions. We've been engaged with them all morning long and all night long with both sides. We think we're working towards real de-escalation. The painful blows have begun, Israel's defense minister Israel Katz said in a message on Twitter on Wednesday that included footage from a Syrian television station of an anchor ducking for cover as the defense ministry was struck. That was wild video footage, by the way. This woman is essentially giving the news as this explosion behind her, and she dives for cover. Israel hit the ministry multiple times Wednesday, including with 2 large strikes around 3 p.m. Another airstrike landed near the presidential palace. At least 3 people were killed and 34 wounded. The Israeli attack coincided with efforts by Syrian troops to intervene in a bout of sectarian violence between members of the Druze religious minority and Bedouins. You can see the video, by the way, if you text data to 33777, get that link that I send back. It's the show notes, and you can see the video of the explosion. It's wild. Israel's been bombing since the Assad regime fell, and the reason is because there is great distrust and unrest about the new Syrian leadership, and the international and national press that already hates Israel and is already pretty anti-Semitic is just not really being truthful with you given their operations. The government in Israel has a commitment to protect religious minorities in the area, and you don't get that from the Western press that hates Israel. The Druze, between 1 million and 2 million people, it's about 1 million people. Some estimates are up to 2 million people. They're being systemically executed by Muslim radicals that have taken over Syria. The Muslim radicals that have taken over Syria have helped prop up the new Syrian regime, and so the new Syrian regime is loath to crack down on the Muslim radicals. But the Muslim radicals are engaged in an extermination campaign against a religious minority. That is an extermination campaign, genocide. Israel told this new regime early on that if you leave these people alone, we'll leave you alone. Israel would love to have a peaceful Syria. Israel doesn't want to go to war with its neighbors. It really wants to focus on dealing with what's happening in Gaza. But if the Syrians are turning a blind eye to this ethnic cleansing that does appear to be happening, Israel's going to step up. The Middle East is way more complicated than what a lot of people want you to acknowledge. And look, Israel doesn't have clean hands. Israel has made mistakes. What's notable, though, is that Israel tends to admit its mistakes because Israel is a free democracy and has a free press that covers Israel, oftentimes critically. That you can't say the same thing about Gaza. You can't say that Hamas has a free press. In fact, we know that reporters in Gaza who publicly criticize Hamas usually wind up dead. That's not the same thing in Israel. So much of the Western press is so hostile to Israel that they're not willing to even be honest about what's happening in Israel, and they're not willing to be honest what's happening in Syria. The Syrian regime started out as an ISIS contingent. They decided to moderate their image as they were winning. They won, and the leader renounced ISIS and says that was more an alliance of convenience. I didn't really mean those things. I didn't really mean death to the West. I would love to have ties to the West in large part because the Russians were the ones helping Bashar al-Assad and propping up the Assad regime. And because the Russians and the Iranians were helping prop up Bashar al-Assad, this new Syrian leader who had been with ISIS said, those are the bad guys. I want to be with the West. The Arab regimes in the area wanted to support the guy, and so Donald Trump's like, we'll get rid of sanctions to make their life easier, but you got to play nice with Israel. The Syrian regime says, we have no issue with Israel, and we'll protect the Christians and the Druze. Well, they can't protect the Christians and the Druze because part of the base that's propped up the regime is actually radically anti-Christian, anti-Druze, Islamic radicals, and now they've begun murdering the people. We're not protecting these religious minorities. So Israel stepped up to do it. And the Western response is to attack Israel for stopping a genocide. They're accusing Israel of a genocide in Gaza, and they're attacking Israel, not telling you that they're preventing a genocide in Syria. By the way, we should want the Syrian regime to succeed. And Israel, by and large, has been trying to help the Syrian regime and has, in fact, provided air cover and military power to the Syrian regime to stamp out some of the Islamic radicals who've tried to overthrow the president in Syria. See how complicated it is? You got bits and pieces. They're willing to help. They're not willing to help. They're attacking each other while also trying to make peace with each other. It's a messy situation. Marco Rubio has his hands full dealing with this. But it's a difficult situation. And it is unfair, I think, to Israel that the national and international press is so poisoned by their hatred of Israel, and particularly Benjamin Netanyahu and his government, they can't tell you the truth of what's happening. What Israel is doing is actually a good and necessary thing, stopping the extermination of a class of people. And for those of you who say, well, that's what they're doing to the Palestinians, they're not. You've believed the lie pressed forward by people in the press that's simply not true. Israel, when they bomb in Gaza, they tell people this is where we're going, please get out of the way. It's Hamas that guns people down. It's been Hamas that's been gunning down people trying to seek humanitarian assistance, and they blame it on Israel, and the national press runs with the lie and only later tells the truth, much like they do with Donald Trump. Look at the flooding in Texas where they run it, it's the National Weather Service cuts that got those girls killed. And now yesterday we learned, they got sufficient warning, but they delayed evacuations for an hour and 15 minutes, and we don't know why. They let the narratives take root before they tell the truth. It's the same thing they do with the situation in Gaza, time and time and time and time again. It's unfortunate. It's provoking violence and hostility. But the Middle East is still unstable. By the way, it's to Donald Trump's credit and Marco Rubio's credit that they provided greater stability than there would be. If Joe Biden were still president, this would just be an absolute disaster in the Middle East, and we know because that's what it was when they were there. Bashar al-Assad was still there. When he fled and collapsed, the Biden administration didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to navigate the situation. All they could do was tell Israel, don't you do anything. And that the president of the United States, Donald Trump, has allowed Israel to engage, has actually provided more stability than there otherwise would be. You know, the wild thing is, I disagree with Donald Trump on a number of things like tariffs and stuff like that. His handling of the Epstein matter and the pushing of conspiracy theories. He's got one of the most grown-up, real logical foreign policies that's easy to articulate. It's what's in America's best interest. And what's in America's best interest is having a stable Middle East that has Israel as a meaningful partner. And that's what he's doing, and it works. He's got a grown-up foreign policy that the left can't stand because he's doing it, but they certainly like the results of it because it's provided stability around the world that Joe Biden couldn't offer. And in this situation, it's the American press and the international press that's not telling you the truth, and it's the Trump administration that is engaging on behalf of the truth to protect a religious minority that would otherwise be exterminated.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
220 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Moving a crash from the left lane to the right shoulder, 285 and northbound, the outer loop in Tucker, just past La Vista Road, exit 37. That's why you're seeing the brake lights coming out of Clarkson, trying to get up to I-85. 75 north in Cobb County, on and off the brakes between Marietta and Kennesaw from Delk Road up toward Bear Parkway. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop best of summer fruits at Whole Foods Market. Get organic yellow peaches for $3.49 per pound with Prime through July 29th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
For 25 years now, WSB has teamed up with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta to find cures for childhood cancers and blood disorders.
All of us at WSB team up to benefit the kids.
Join us again for 2 days of magic.
Thursday and Friday, July 24th and 25th.
You can make miracles happen. Won't you please help?
It's as easy as calling 1-888-750-2772.
Or online at WSBradio.com.
Hey, this is Robbie with Ben Hill Renovations, the preferred deck experts heard on the Home Fix-It Show. We're well known for our superior craftsmanship for decks and outdoor living spaces. And at Ben Hill Renovations, we provide that same attention to detail when it comes to roofing, siding, windows, and doors. So get your project started today and call to schedule a free estimate. Or you can stop by our showroom in Douglasville, online at bhrenovations.com. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
Did you know that eating healthier and more delicious food is not only good for you, but affordable as well? Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. At the Bread Beckers store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, delicious, and affordable solution for your family. Eating real bread will satisfy your hunger and greatly reduce the amount of food you need to eat. Plus, your improved health from eating real bread may even reduce the need for frequent doctor visits. That's what Real Bread did for our family. 2 doctor visits with 9 kids in 25 years. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, weight gain, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier, more affordable life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Hey, y'all, it's Eric Erickson here. Do you know the difference between strategy and tactics? As somebody who ran campaigns, I always find people sometimes they engage in tactics. We steer the ship left and then right, starboard, port, left, right, slow down, speed up. But do you make sense of it? The strategy is the overall picture of how you want to accomplish your goal. And then the tactics are the individual things you do to accomplish the strategy to meet your goal. And when you're dealing with your retirement, you need a financial advisor who understands that. That's David Nicholas, Nicholas Wealth Management. My wife and I actually sat down with David and mapped out our goals for the future and our retirement and realized that we had engaged in a series of tactics, but we really didn't have a comprehensive overall strategy that made it work. You want a comprehensive overall strategy so that when you hit retirement, well, you've met your goals. And David Nicholas can help you do that. You sit down with David today, and he can give you a free wealth analysis. Christy and I did this with him. You can do this with him, and you're going to get a strategy. You're not just going to have a financial advisor who's deploying a bunch of tactics without the overall strategy to get you to meet your goal. Talk to David and his team at nicholaswealth.com. Call them at 678-990-8500. That's 678-990-8500 or nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and particular needs of any person who listens to this show. Eric Erickson is a current client and is paid for this ad.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Y'all, my board op is 26 years old and has thrown his back out. I don't know what I'm going to do. I got my producer's got a bad back. Now Kobe's got a bad back. 26 years old and I mean, almost virtually paralyzed over there. It's just, get that lidocaine patch on. And my gosh, and he didn't do anything. He's like rolled over in the middle of the night. You're too young for this. Too young. I told him that, I mean, he lives in Midtown Atlanta. There are all those Asian massage parlors. I'm sure he can get some lady to step on his back and realign his spine for him or something. But, we'll make do with my cripple board op. At least he can turn because I don't know how to turn this stuff on and off. You know, for years I've wanted to learn how to run the board and stuff. And every time I put in my little work assessment of the thing I want to get better at, they're like, you're not allowed to learn that job. So now I just talk on the radio and let everybody else do it. So I need him in action. I mentioned the Democrats in 2026, and you know the history of the midterms is that the party out of power tends to do well. We've had a series of special elections. You can only read so much of the special elections, but the pattern of the special elections has suggested that the Democrats should do well. Well, there is new data out. This is Harry Itten, and listen to this. It is not what Democrats want to hear. Oh, well, I got to rearrange the soundboard because I was listening to something that didn't want to bleed over. Here we go.
Democrats are behind their 2006 and 2018 paces when it comes to the generic congressional ballot. What are we talking about here? All right, the Democrats versus the Republicans on the generic congressional ballot, the margins. Look at where we are now. Democrats are ahead, but by just 2 points. Look at where Democrats were already ahead by in 2017. They were behind by 7 points. How about 2005 on the generic congressional ballot? Ahead by 7 points, and now they're only ahead by 2 points. Their lead is less than half of where it was in either 2017 or 2005 in July of those years, the year before the bottom.
That's pretty significant, actually. It really actually is, and it does suggest that as the Democrats have moved further and further left, they have alienated themselves more and more from people. And the woke stuff is killing. And, you know, privately, Democratic leaders acknowledge it, but they're held hostage by their base. Interest rates continue to be high. Jerome Powell and the Feds will meet at the end of this month to figure out what they're going to do. Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, and they can educate you on protecting your assets. They've got a report out, The Secret War on Cash. You can go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric to get it. That's SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. It takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save on your retirement and finances. You get your copy for free by going to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. Remember, it's ERICK. Or you can call or text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. The All-Out War on Cash includes digital forms of currency, and it is spreading. Get the Secret War on Cash report free. Just mention Eric when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. You can just text my name, Eric, ERICK, to 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
When traffic hits.
I-75 completely shut down north and south between McDonough and Locust Grove.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
Brake lights fill in on 316 westbound at Sugarloaf Parkway.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Heavy police fire department activity.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. President Trump lashing out at some of his most loyal supporters who are calling for the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. The president says his past supporters, as he calls them, have bought into it hook, line, and sinker.
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. And so they try and do the Democrats' work.
Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is among the Republicans calling on the president to make public records in Epstein's sex trafficking investigation. The family of an Atlanta church deacon who died after he was tased by an officer during a traffic stop meets today with Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis. They say the district attorney let them know she plans to announce within a couple of weeks whether charges will be filed against the former Atlanta policeman and a tow truck driver who also got involved. The grandfather of a Carroll County teenager charged with murdering her mother and stepfather stands by Sarah Patrick.
She's innocent until proven guilty, and I'm going to stand behind that and say I think she's totally innocent until somebody can show me that she's totally guilty.
Dennis Nolan says he's hopeful she gets a good defense. The Carroll County Sheriff's Office says Kristen Block and James Brock were found shot to death at a home in February. Sarah Brock was 16 at the time. She is charged as an adult. No serious injuries reported after a car crashes into a townhome not far from the Marietta Square. The Marietta Police Department says it happened near Lemon and Cole Streets. They urge drivers to avoid the area. It is 2:32, and this news is sponsored by FGA Roofing.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
It's your money. Get it sooner. All you need is direct deposit with a checking or savings account at Coosa Valley Credit Union. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Not only can you get your money sooner, but we believe in kinder banking where you deal with real people in person. So come see us.
A great way to add value to your home is to improve and upgrade your kitchen, but you're worried about the cost because of tariffs raising everybody's costs on things like this. Y'all, it's Eric. You can go to Frugal Kitchens. You'll get that $1 million look for well under that price. And right now, if you book an appointment, you'll get the Frugal Price Lock, where they will lock in pre-tariff pricing. Google Frugal Kitchens today. Lock in pre-tariff pricing on your redesign of your kitchen. Google Frugal Kitchens.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Now's a great time to save on cherries. Washington red cherries are on sale for $2.99 a pound with your digital coupon. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Beaver Direct certified, providing the highest quality vehicles at the very best prices. Every vehicle undergoes rigorous reconditioning with the industry-leading 12-month, 12,000-mile certified warranty. Visit us at BeaverToyotaCumming.com and see why everyone loves Beaver Direct.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Got some better news over in Tuckerville. Had a crash, 285 and northbound, the outer loop just past La Vista Road, exit 37. They were able to move that to the right shoulder, so it's starting to recover through Clarkston. If you're traveling into Cobb County I-20 westbound out of Lithonia, a few brake lights passing Panola Road, exit 71, trouble cleared there as well. And the brake lights filling in for the afternoon through downtown southbound from the 85-400 merge into Midtown toward I-20. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid this afternoon, high 94.
Right now, storm tracker radar is quiet across metro Atlanta. It is 87 degrees in Dallas, also 87 in Conyers. It's 88 degrees in Cartersville. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
And culture with clarity.
Welcome back. It is Erick Erickson here across the nation. I got to tell you, I find this so bizarre. I mentioned it a little while ago, and I got some more details. A listener out at KSTE in Sacramento sent me this. The legislature in California is advancing Assembly Bill 84. This legislation would strip over $1 billion from California classrooms, bury charter schools and homeschool programs in red tape, burdening parents who've pulled their kids out of public school, and would limit flexibility for families, including low-income students and students with special needs. Now, there is actually bipartisan opposition to the legislation. I don't know that it's enough, but this is an example nationally of the Democrats undermining anything relating to school choice, and it comes as Republicans have advanced school choice legislation in Congress. And we're seeing now the states more and more fighting each other on these sorts of things. Like, for example, there is, I believe it's in Louisiana or Texas, there is an indictment of an abortion doctor in New York. And New York is refusing to honor the request to send the doctor to that state for prosecution. I think it's Louisiana, actually. So the doctor, here's the story. A girl wanted to have her child. The girl's mother wanted the girl to have an abortion. The girl's mother called a doctor in New York and arranged for a shipment of abortion pills that she somehow was able to get her daughter to take. And I think the allegation is the daughter didn't realize that she was taking an abortifacient drug and aborted the doctor. They aborted the baby. The doctor had no contact with the girl. And I think it's Louisiana's prosecuting the doctor, and New York's like, abortion's legal here, we're not sending the doctor. There are massive fights growing among the states. Now, the president is pushing Texas to do a mid-decade redistricting. Typically, redistricting happens once every 10 years. Under the Constitution, it happens once every 10 years. There's nothing in the Constitution that prohibits redistricting all the time. We could get in a habit of redistricting every 2 years if we wanted to. It would be a costly, burdensome mess. But Donald Trump is trying to squeak out and maximize all gains to keep the House of Representatives in the 2026 election. And so what he's asking Texas to do is to redistrict now instead of 2030, to pad some of the Republican districts and make some of the Democratic districts swing to the GOP. California's Gavin Newsom is saying if Texas does this, we're going to do it too. Now, here's what you need to know about California. California, I think, has 6 to 9 Republican members of Congress, and they've pretty much maximized their gerrymandering. They claim that they can eke out a few more Democratic seats to offset Texas, and they're trying to use themselves as a nuclear option, saying if Texas does this, we're going to do this. The problem, however, is that California has jungle primaries where if you have a bunch of Democrats jump into a seat and only one Republican, the Republicans can consolidate and help themselves. But this goes back to Democrats for a long time. Think about the national popular vote. For a very long time, the Democrats wanted the national popular vote. They've actually got some Republicans to buy into the idea of we should go with the national popular vote. Never trust anyone who embraces the idea of using the national popular vote. It took on a life of its own after the year 2000, and Democrats started funding groups to build these interstate compacts wherein the states would agree that their electoral college votes would go to whoever won the national popular vote, not who won that state. Essentially, we're going to ignore the will of the majority of voters in our state. We're going to go with the national popular vote. Very heavy-handed tactic by the Democrats. And when George Bush won the national popular vote in 2004, they tapped the brakes on it. And guess what happened? Republicans started embracing, hey, this isn't a bad idea. We should do it. And then Republicans began losing. You get to 2016, Donald Trump loses the popular vote and wins, and Republicans, by and large, have distanced themselves from it. And Democrats are full bore on the idea that we should go with the national popular vote winner. And they've been pushing the Interstate Compact. 2024 has hit the brakes on the Democrats. It's political opportunism by both sides. Never trust a person's political instincts if they think that we should embrace the national popular vote. Never trust a person's instincts if they do that, because their political instincts change on a whim, and they're not super serious people. The Electoral College is actually a genius system that helps prevent, frankly, voter theft in the country. And you can say 2020 was stolen, but you've got to acknowledge that even if you think it's stolen, it's a way harder in the Electoral College because the swing states change all the time. And every state has their own rules. In some states, every county has their own rules. It's a much harder thing to be able to game. If we went with the national popular vote, all you got to do is steal the election in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Miami. And guess what? Really easy for Democrats to do that. You don't want the national popular vote election. You just don't. It'd be bad. So now the Republicans are kind of being too clever by half and saying, you know what, we're going to engage in mid-year redistricting. The rule in politics is very much like Murphy's Law. You do not want to do mid-decade redistricting if you can help it, because events can change things. And what you can do is think Republicans are very strong right now, so we're going to carve out some districts, make them a little bit weaker on the Republican side, but we'll weaken the Democrats too. And guess what? Events change things. The economy craters or something. There's a backlash. Suddenly the Republicans are wiped out because they weakened Republican strongholds to try to hurt Democrats, and it wound up hurting the Republicans. It's a dangerous game to play. But in California and New York, the idea that suddenly they're going to redistrict and make things even worse, go for it. You've already made it as bad as you possibly can. And the idea that California can somehow eke out even more Democrats, actually, when you look at the numbers, it's probably not possible. I don't really favor the idea, though, to be real honest with you, just at an intellectual level. I get it at a partisan level, maximize the gains, but I would hate for the country to get in the habit where every 2 years we're redistricting so that one party can maximize gains against the other party. I don't like the idea of doing it. And I think at some point the Supreme Court probably does get involved, and you get a John Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett siding with the three progressives saying, nah, it's got to be done every 10 years, barring certain circumstances. But I totally understand why Donald Trump wants to do it, and I can't blame him. And honestly, I'm surprised Democrats haven't tried it. But the reason Democrats haven't tried it is because what Democrats did, in addition to the national popular vote stuff, is Democrats decided that if they could outsource redistricting to a commission, the commissions could be gamed and they could draw districts that benefited themselves. They did it in Iowa. They've done it in other states where the Democrats decided to build these redistricting commissions. And the redistricting commissions would draw the lines. And when the redistricting commissions drew the lines, Democrats had it in their head that because the country had shifted left, it would benefit the Democrats. And it hasn't worked that way. In Iowa, it's helped the Republicans. In California, they ultimately had to stack the redistricting commission with Democrats in order to game it to make sure that it would benefit them. You're playing with fire when you go down these roads, but of course they're doing it. Now, my buddy Joe Cunningham down at KPEL in Lafayette sent me the story. This is of national interest to everyone. You got to listen to this. Foreign. I can't read today. Sorry, I'm from Louisiana. Federal investigators have indicted several current and former law enforcement leaders in Louisiana, accusing them of participating in a paid scheme to bypass immigration laws. The alleged scheme involved hundreds of visas. A businessman, 3 current law enforcement leaders, and 1 former law enforcement leader were arrested this week. The FBI shared details of the 62-count indictment on visa fraud on Wednesday morning. They alleged that law enforcement leaders worked with an Oakdale business owner to falsify police records of armed robberies. The victims, who were immigrants, could then apply for a visa that would allow the victims or witnesses to stay in the United States. Those included in the indictment are Lala Patel of Oakdale, 1 count of conspiracy to commit visa fraud, 1 count of bribery, 24 counts of mail fraud, 8 counts of money laundering. Chad Doyle, the police chief of Oakdale, Louisiana, 1 count of conspiracy to commit fraud, visa fraud, 6 counts visa fraud, 6 counts mail fraud, 1 count money laundering. Michael Freck Schlady, Oakdale City Marshal. Glenn Dixon, the Forest Hill police chief. And Thibault Onache, the former Glenmora police chief. Thibault Onache, my gosh, is there a more South Louisiana name than that? Thibault Onache, the only thing we're missing is a Boudreaux, a Robichaux, and a Fontenot getting indicted. The case involves U non-immigrant status visa, commonly called U visas. The scheme started in December 2015, and it continued until this week. Officials said people wanted to obtain U visas could contact Patel or another unnamed person. Those people paid Patel thousands of dollars. Patel would contact law enforcement leaders, including Doyle, Slaney, Dixon, and Osanase, to create false police reports that listed the person as a victim of an armed robbery. And then because they were the victim of an armed robbery and would need to be a witness in court, they were given a visa to stay until the resolution of the crime, which, since it never happened, would be an indefinite visa stay, so they could stay in the country. These officials gaming the system. Now, this is one small community in Louisiana. Think about how many more people this could happen. You're wondering, where is Oakdale, Louisiana? Tell you how small Oakdale is. You know their big store is an IGA. Oakdale is, it's between DeRidder and Opelousas. It's south of Alexandria. It's north of Lake Charles. It's small. Glenmora and Forest Hill, it's a line up Highway 165 towards Alexandria, Louisiana. Rapides Parish area. These people are gaming the system. Police chiefs gaming the system, making money, getting visas for people who wanted to stay in the United States. This is a snapshot of one small community. Now spread this out nationally, because you've got to imagine if it's happening there, it's happening elsewhere, and this is just one little community. You got to imagine that it's happening elsewhere. You got to imagine, first of all, kudos to the FBI for cracking down on this stuff. But these sorts of schemes, that's not an anomalous scheme. And look at the local leaders involved. You know, this reminds me. So when I was on city council, I was elected. Worst job I ever had. The only reason I ran is because I wanted to crack down on human trafficking in my community. There were a number of Asian-themed massage parlors that when you started investigating, it was pretty clear these Asian-themed massage parlors were not exactly on the up and up. And so I got elected, and a lady who had been harassed by the Asian spa community for her investigations told me that what I was going to find out was that local leaders, prominent people in the community, would probably be the landlords for these businesses, and they would be the ones to raise the complaints. They were politically connected. Sure enough, one of the more prominent landlords of that was renting out the strip malls where these spas were happening was a very prominent businessman and political leader in the community. Had to do an in-run around him, and instead of tying up police resources, that was always the big objection. We can't tie police up for something that's basically just human choice. We used business inspectors to come in and make sure that they were keeping their lights on and had logs of visitors and stuff like that. And they all went out of business overnight when the regulations passed because they didn't want to keep logs of their visitors. They didn't want to keep all the lights on in all the rooms. They didn't want to be prohibited from sleeping on the premises, stuff like that. It was kind of wild to see them close up overnight. They've slowly been trickling back in over time, but for a while they all went away. But it was local prominent political leaders and business leaders who were involved in it. Now, go from human trafficking to immigration stays, some of which is tied to human trafficking, and you see it. Good for the FBI cracking down on this stuff. Just a wild turn of events down there in Louisiana. Now, I want you to go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE. If you need a computer, if you've got an existing computer, you just need it upgraded, they can upgrade the components in your existing computer, or they can build you a new computer. If your kids are headed off to college in the next month, Think about this, parents. You want to get your kids a great PC to go to college. Vision Computer can build it. Not only will they save them money, but then you get their 24/7, 365 support. So when your kid is in college and has a computer problem, has a question about their computer, they can call Vision day or night and get the answer, 15 seconds or less. So they're not losing their homework. They're able to get their projects done. If you need an upgraded computer for your kid, you can do that as well, so you're saving even more money. Tell them Eric sent you. You're going to save money. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. Doesn't matter where you are in the nation, Vision Computers can help you. They build computers. They can refurbish computers for you, upgrade computers. If you just want their tech support, you got a kid in college who's got a computer, but they got computer problems, Vision can even remote in and take care of their computers, just $199 a year per computer. Visioncomputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. If you're a business and you can't afford an in-house IT guy and you're tired of paying outside consultants, let Vision do it. Again, it's $199 a year per computer. They can save you some money, and your employees get the phone number. You call them 15 seconds or less. They get the answer, so they're great at their job, and Vision's great at keeping the computers going. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Tell them Eric sent you.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
251 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Afternoon volume starting to pick up around Metro Atlanta. 285 westbound in Sandy Springs. That's getting slower from Georgia 400 over to Riverside Drive, exit 24. 285 east and southbound starting to stack up right around I-85. That's in the Dorville-Tucker region. Again, just all volume there. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop seafood at Whole Foods Market. Get 20% off sustainable, wild-caught, fresh Alaska sockeye salmon fillets with Prime through July 22nd while supplies last. Shop in-store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is a test of the emergency alert system.
It's Eric, and one of the questions I get asked all the time is, Erickson, where do I get a computer? I don't want to worry about the setup and all the tech support stuff. Y'all, you go to Vision Computers. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. Listen, when you call Vision, you're not getting stuck in a maze of hold music or menus. They answer the phone 15 seconds on average. That's right, 15 seconds. Real people, real help, real fast, right when you need it. And here's the part I love. You got an older computer. You got programs you rely on. Maybe QuickBooks or a niche software for your small business. You're afraid a new computer means losing it all or spending days doing transfers. Vision Computers got you covered. As long as your software is supported in Windows 11, they can move all your programs from your old computer to the new one efficiently, safely, and fast. It's like handing off all the hassle to someone who's an expert and knows what they're doing. So if you're thinking your old computer is fine but slowing down, maybe time for a new one. Call 404-COMPUTE today. That's 404-COMPUTE. Let Vision Computers take care of everything. You're never going to want to buy a computer another way.
Men, are you having problems performing in the bedroom? Do pills like Viagra and Cialis leave you feeling frustrated? Well, now there's new hope for men who suffer from ED and PE problems. Meet Dr. Katz, a specialist in men's health.
Hey guys, I'm Dr. Katz with Choice Men's Health. Regardless of your age or medical condition, Choice Men's Health can safely restore your sexual potency. Our customized solutions can eliminate your problem in just one visit. There's no pain, no surgery, and it's affordable.
Guys, don't let the anxiety over your performance get you down. We can get you back in the game. Call Choice Men's Health today to find out how you can eliminate ED on the very first visit. Call 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see Get a Phone on Us, Get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Army of activists, and let your voice be heard. Text ARMY to 33777.
Greetings, it is Eric Erickson here. You know, this Zohran Mamdani story out of New York, it is consuming the national media in large part because that's where so much of the media lives. But I'm really fascinated by the attempted Andrew Cuomo comeback. Governor of New York kills a lot of grandparents with his COVID policies, denies it, winds up sexually harassing a lot of women in his office, gets pushed out of office, and he decides to mount his comeback. And a lot of business leaders in New York City are like, yes, we're going to get behind this guy. I almost want Mamdani to win. It would be, I think, terrible for New York City, but the voters would get what they deserve for elevating him. But the fact that Andrew Cuomo wants to be the savior, what an ego the guy must have to think, I'm the guy who can save New York after killing people's grandmothers. And the fact that there are business leaders in New York, you understand, I think, why, whether you believe in all the Epstein allegations, right? You can kind of understand why stuff like this festers. When you see a bunch of business leaders actually think that a guy like Andrew Cuomo is worthy of redemption only a couple of years after being booted from office, never saying sorry, that, hey, let's use this guy. No, there's no other person competent or capable enough to get elected. We gotta rely on the man who killed our grandmoms. I kind of hope Mamdani wins. I mean, it would be bad for New York. New York is already bad after Bill de Blasio, but they kind of get what they deserve. If there's no such thing as an indispensable person on planet Earth, there never has been. There is no indispensable person short of Jesus Christ himself. And these politicians decide that they're the indispensable people. Never mind what they've done. Never mind their lack of apology. I'm appalled by this. It's kind of like, so I like Jeb Bush. I do like the guy personally. Got a good relationship with him. And when he was running for office in 2016, he invited me to a meeting, asked if I would support him. I said, Governor, I love you. I love your policies. I love your education reforms in Florida, and I can't support you because I think it's a damning indictment on the United States of America if in 2016 we've got to have a Clinton versus Bush election. After years of Clintons and Bushes, I think it's time for us to find new people. God bless you. Good luck. But it's time for fresh faces and to stop thinking one family or the other's got to do it. And it's like it's time for the Cuomos to go away in New York. The fact that they can't is just a terrible indictment on people's judgment in New York City, and he might actually lose.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
You want to avoid having a kid who's a spendaholic? I think there are two elements to this. One, a kid has to spend his or her own money. Second, when they're young enough and they're not old enough to work, they should do chores for the money they get, for allowance. And the more you create a sense of value of money with your kids when they're really, really young, not always, because some kids are just wired as spenders, but most of the time you're going to find that you have a kid who grows into teenage years and into young adulthood with a much better sense about what money's about. But the other part of this is you have to talk to your kids about money, even the mistakes you may have made. I'm Clark Howard.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. The family of the Atlanta deacon who died following a traffic stop in 2023 gets an update today on the investigation from the Fulton County District Attorney.
It's been 2 years of waiting for Johnny Holland